Yeah, so looking at our first couple of lineups and first bomb site selection, nothing too surprising as far as competitive play goes, but we're on the top floor first.
That's not surprising at all either. Top floor, lots more flexibility. You can have a lot more roamers efficiently played out versus on the bottom floor, or sorry, rather the train room, which is a little bit more of an anchor site. And at the same time, if they take control of Piano, it's kind of almost like you can't anchor on that site. Piano being on this particular map, pretty much the pivotal room for both of the commonly defended bomb sites.
All right, we also want to touch quickly on the Caviera brought out here from Dexterity.
I mean, it works for some teams. For Dexterity, especially, I would say it's a sensible pick. If you're going to be getting extremely aggressive, and if you are going to be roaming, which it looks like they will be based upon that top floor bomb pick.
So we saw from both teams in our first game today, double Echo and Smoke. Both there. Just lock them down, hold the game until the last couple of seconds. Now, is that a map thing? Are we not seeing them here because of the maps? Is this a team thing? Are they just not wanting to play them? Or
well, I think else? In the map we watched previously with Era versus, or in the match we watched previously, Era versus Envy, both of those teams are a little bit more strategy based. Euronics, I feel like they have, yes, they do strats, but Santos, I feel like, is a little bit more free form. They kind of play off an idea, and they have really refined it. It's not like just a whim sort of thing, like they're not just going at it. They actually know what they're up to. It's just a little bit more freeform.
All right, so Panari, regularly the first man in for ESG, is close and onto the roof already. Caviera, you see, she's still down there at the bottom of that red staircase, lurking out, checking the cameras and looking to see what's waiting for her, and ready to Tovat out through this. She hears the rappel, she can see Snookin underneath, and does pick up the kill, and gets back inside safely. Gohan is off and hiding.
And that's that extremely aggressive play that we expect from Dexterity.
And he's got, okay, some health missing, but he's far away from anyone else on ESG now. The rest of them are stuck outside in the balcony and up on the roof. Caviera are going to use that silence, going to use just the freedom she still has inside to completely reposition. She can do that all over again somewhere soon. Euronics then on the back foot. There's also a bit of health taken off of the Capitao here now from that skylight peak. They're looking to try and pick some things off from the skylight and from that red drop, but everyone on Dexterity is playing surprisingly passive. Now that Gohan's picked off that first kill.
Well, it looks like they're just trying to get themselves situated in an attack, but they don't really know where they're going to be hitting. They have obviously some players on the roof and the windows, but no actual traction here.
Panari's still looking to check the drone through. The grenades are coming in through the red drop and opening up and taking away some of the barbed wire, getting ready to go through down. Both Twitch drones are gone. Nothing going to be zapped from those anymore, but she's used it for information. They know what's waiting for them in Piano now. They did have a sight line briefly in towards the freezer area in the bar too, and now they've made that drop. You're going to use secretly up here is use the firepower. He does go down the staircase and find Gohan waiting underneath. Takes one shotgun blast, but at that range it's not a whole lot of damage. They start to push in. Cameraman will trade. Pico does drop shots around the corner, takes down one, but is traded up by Shutek. It's 3v1 as that very quickly trades in against the Euronics push, and Panari, after, as I mentioned, being one of the first in the building, is alone now. Pushing through barbed wire across towards bar, and he's going to be flanked on the side by Cameraman. Euronics try to do their entire push through that red stair dropper, and that's an easy cleanup for Santos.
You know, a lot of what Cafe really comes down to is getting traction on that Piano room, and obviously Dexterity was defending it very steadfastly. They had someone in there, they were waiting for the repels, and they played around that drop. But I feel like ESG, they needed to try and take from maybe a floor, get some traction somewhere instead of just applying yourself directly to the problem.
Yeah, I don't know whether they were scared of the Caviera perhaps somewhere downstairs. They didn't want to try and go in some other angle.
Well, they got that pick.
They didn't know where she's gone.
Yeah.
But once they'd killed her,
they still
didn't
went
seem
for
to change anything else.
Yeah.
Now they still had a minute or so left. It's not a lot of time, but you could try something. Maybe repel back, try one of the Piano windows, at least to try and shift that person out. But they just kept funneling him down through that choke point, and it does not end well.
And still on that first round, we saw extremely aggressive gameplay from both teams. It was just go, go, go. Yeah, no pausing in any of it.
Yeah, it took some moments to drone and check, but once they'd made that call, everyone piled in very quickly. Each kill followed each kill. Now that's Cafe, right? That's why it's going to go. Because of the accessibility of the roof for the defense, so the attack, they will sit up there and they'll be very safe. Because the defenders have a lot of control of downstairs for the majority of it until the attackers get inside. It's going to take a few minutes, it's going to take a little bit of setup, but once the attackers decide to come on in, it's going to all wrap up very quickly.
Right.
5 seconds left before
So,
insertion.
Shutex still one of the only players to use silencers these days. He's using it on his Jaeger since they changed it, and it now no longer reveals the hit markers. It no longer shows where you're being shot from. It just gives him that extra half a second or so of unsecurity or sneaky, so to speak. So the defenders that he's sneaking up on, or attackers he's sneaking up on, don't quite know where it is. And right now he's right over the far side of Bakery, just using these pre-opened windows to maybe pick someone off that's not paying attention.
And droning out the entire bakery does take quite a long time on attack, so it makes sense. It's a sensible play. Yeah, especially when your team's all up on the top floor.
Yeah, he's also staying very, very mobile down here. This is, as we mentioned, part of the features of that cafe is it's very fast to rotate around. He's done a full loop at the bottom floor and gets up this staircase now that that drone spotted him and is lost once more. But Dexterity, confident they have control, are sending Gohan in through this front lobby. Not a regular entry point for a lot of teams because getting up this staircase can be tough. But he's confident, he's making the push forward. You can hear some shots rattling off around either side, and now follows a few more drones in through towards the reading room, but Shutex is being herded away from him, herded back towards the white staircase. And as Astro's pushing up the other side, you can see ESG have that south side of this middle floor. Dexterity have control of the north, and as we talked about in a moment, when these two finally clash, it's going to go down very quickly. Renewal's hiding in that corner. Panico's going to drone him, spot him. Renewal sprints across the gap, does get tagged in behind, but Astro can't finish it off. He's now going to push forward to try and hunt him down and finish him off. Not a whole lot of health missing from this Valkyrie, but Gohan's flanking in through Dining. He's going to be surrounded, and there it is. Renewal's taken off. Dexterity not giving ESG these 1v1s that they said they like so much.
This coordination from Dexterity, wow, he's trapped in a corner, go kill him. That is fantastic. They wasted no time with that roamer.
So, one pick taken out, but still 2 minutes, more or less, burned off the clock before they really got a chance to look at the top floor. Now they're droning up here, now they're getting their way through it, and with a minute left to go, they're finally ready to start making some pressure. Panico on this Capital does still have all his firebolts, repelling over that side, can make it work through the window, but Astro is lurking down in the kitchen, and Shutex cannot find the kill. He's now pinned, he's very, very low, and with a minute left on the clock, Dexterity are going to be very happy knowing there's only 3 defenders left on that top floor. Trying to take the fight, Shutex will fall. Gohan actually flanked down again to help with that kill. Again going for that 2v1. Astro and Gohan working very, very nicely together. Panari now up here with Snooken. And the final remaining mute teammate trying to hold this top
only
floor.
30 seconds left. And all 3 defenders are on the site.
In through the window comes Panico. Doc's looking the wrong way when he comes in, but he can't land enough shots and will in fact fall. Snooken picks it up, switches to his pistol. Just as the push is going to come around, Gohan gets him on the return. And secretly we'll have to trade it back. Cameraman's picked one off elsewhere, and it's down to a 2v2, so this is a good recovery from Euronics. Cameraman, they're both pushing it through the same corridor. Hibana goes low. Stays high on Thatcher, and it's a straight trade back. Secretly hiding now in the freezer. The plant's going down behind A. He's going to go out for a peek. He's going to leave him to hold it. The fuser goes down, and it's an easy kill for Secretly as Sula's silence stands back up. And Euronics come back from what looked like a terrible start.
Yeah, the 2 roamers on Euronics didn't really get very much done. They did waste a lot of time, but in the end they didn't get any trades back. So that was a 3v5 and an impressive one at that.
After all that work from Dexterity to single out and to clear off the roamers and push them from multiple angles and cut from behind, their final attack on that top floor all came through that one corridor, bar the Capital repelling in from the side, and when he didn't pick up that kill, that was a big mistake.
Yeah. Too many shots missed. Although, to be honest, it was Doc looking away at the wrong time. Surprisingly, did not hear that repel.
Attackers need to locate
so,
and defuse bombs.
Down into the fireplace, down into this middle bomb site now for Dexterity's defense. They've gone with exactly the same operator setups they had before. They've brought the Caviera in again. Don't expect Euronics to be falling for the same trick of letting him jump out and kill him on the rappel. They don't even have to go as far up to the roof this time. So where is Gohan going to go this time? Where is he going to hide? What's his play?
Probably going to try and keep control of either the bottom floor or going to play Ghost on piano. So either that or I'm expecting Dexterity to try and hard hold piano.
Yeah. And it's also a question of who stays up there with him. Is he going to be alone or are they going to move more? And how do they hold the rest of the sites? We've seen teams in the past overcommit to controlling the top floor, overcommit to putting everyone upstairs and just fall down.
Looks like it's going to be upstairs.
Yeah, he's going up, which right now he's alone, but there's still a few more seconds for teams to come on through. And Euronics will slowly make their way across towards the building, checking the windows cautiously, but at this level, at this point in play, trying those aggressive peaks.
He's actually gone downstairs.
Yeah, he's hiding exactly the same spot he was before, bottom of the red staircase. Doesn't have the pre-prep window this time to jump on out, but he's still going to be there for a possible threat later on. Over inside the B site, you see Valkyrie Loner checking the cameras. Is now Euronics are starting to get situated up on this balcony. Dexterity and not going to reveal themselves to this hole in the wall. It's a very time-honored tradition for attackers to sit there and sit on this window, especially.
I was about to say, I've seen too often a lot of attacking teams get stalled out onto these particular windows and just never get any picks and therefore never go through any of the windows. Just sit out there the whole round.
Yeah, and Euronics, well, they're going around that by putting 3 of their players up on the roof, sending Blackbeard up on the roof now too, in fact. So they are going to go for that, take the top floor and move their way down again, which is the go-to for
most people tend to do that.
Yeah, but we already saw they weren't too adept at taking the top floor, admittedly against 5 people on the first round. So the question is, do they know what's up here? Have they found out what's there? Because right now it's actually nothing.
This is interesting from Dexterity. I'm thinking that if they're going to be defending it without trying to hold piano, that they'll be playing for a full retake strat. So instead of playing anchors in the site, in excess, maybe 1 or 2, but not 3 or 4, play them around the site and put them in positions to retake when Euronics open up that drop and try to go for the plant.
So it's taken Euronics 1 minute and 40 seconds here to take control of an empty floor. That doesn't bode confidence in what's about to follow this. They do now have time to sit back, start opening up the floor, start opening up the trapdoors, and have a look with their drones onto what's waiting from the site underneath. Panari does pick up the first kill of the round to help out this attack, but they still don't know where Gohan's lurking. They still haven't found this Caviera rather, is on the very, very bottom floor.
And it's worth noting that there are 4 people left on Dexterity, but only 1 of them is on the site. So it looks like they will be trying for a retake strat.
Yeah, so we'll see how he holds up. He's hiding inside that train. It's the one spot that can't really be seen from the holes made or from the trapdoor. And here comes Gohan. Caviera has decided to wake up, using that silent step to get up the white staircase. He's being joined by Jaeger. And they will start to push their way forward. Coming back to the site, Panico picks up 1 onto Snookum with 30 seconds to go. Here comes Euronics. Panico opens himself another hole. It allows him to red corridor, but then peeks the hole that Secretly made earlier on and will pay the price for it. Secretly comes on in, is the man with the diffusers. The drops have come from above. Panari's here to cover him. 20 seconds and the plant's going to go down. Panari's watching the hole in the wall, but they're going to come from the door. Gohan's shotgun won't touch him at that range, and they do get the plant complete. Gohan comes in though, gets the down as cameraman finishes off renewals. Gohan's thinking about it, pushing forward. Secretly, jump back outside now. Nice peek around for Shutex to take Gohan out. Panari could be revived, but cameraman is alone with not a lot of health left. Secretly finished off. Cameraman comes around the doorway to the red. Didn't know where Shutex was, and it's an easy peek for him.
That was a good clutch by Shutex, not getting baited out by that down teammate and trying to go for the revive. Now that was an interesting run from Euronics as well, because they took, like you said, took them a long time to take control of upstairs, but as soon as they had it, as soon as they established themselves, they droned the site, realized, oh my gosh, there's only 1 person in there, and they just went for it. And the retake from Dexterity just wasn't fast enough.
Yeah, it was also a little bit miscoordinated too. We saw mistimed pushes coming back in there from the Dexterity players, and they pay the price for it. Nice cover from the different players on Euronics, but it's time now for them to hold the same site. This is why this site is the second choice for a lot of teams. It is not an easy hold. It's definitely not an easy retake. So let's see where Euronics go with it. They're a team which in the past and in the close qualifiers we'd see them go for the previously talked about aggressive spawn peaks, jump outs, run outs on the front door as people are repelling. They go for those kills to try and get themselves a little bit of aggression and get themselves that early advantage. But right now, both of these teams are playing pretty reserved.
As far as these particular teams go, yes, reserved. As far compared to other teams, not so much. But on Euronics, now this is interesting, a recruit. Wonder what that's doing there. I'm curious to see what kind of recruit it is. If it's maybe a shotgun SMG-11, or if maybe we're going for a rehost and then somebody forgot.
We'll have to wait. We'll find out shortly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about it, and we had the analysts go on it, and we were talking about it all the time. Like, these teams are known for their aggression. Brazil as a region, the LATAM region, is known for its aggression.
Right.
Euronics stormed through the closed qualifiers by literally running over their opponents. But we're seeing very different playstyles from these teams here.
Yeah, again, like you said, as far as these teams go, pretty passive.
Is that because the meta's changed over the last 3 months of hiding, or is that because they're just being a little bit cautious and feeling each other out?
I mean, you got to imagine you're at this LAN event and you have so much to prove. Both of these teams have a lot to prove. Euronics, like we talked about, only finished 5th last season, and Dexterity has, as of yet, not played in this particular league. So it is kind of it's big for both of these teams, and I feel like that would put you on the back foot a little bit and put you in the sense of I have to play a little bit more conservative than I usually do.
Yeah, well, hopefully they cut over it soon if they need to. If they don't, if they've practiced this and they can play this, fine. But I feel like we're going to not see these teams really unleash themselves if they're playing reserve for this. If they're worried about what is in the stake, they need to unleash them. But right now, we are still seeing good, smart decision-making, great communication between the Dexterity squad, cleaning out those roamers, droning out those roamers, and taking them down with smart flanks. So they're definitely awake, they're definitely there. But can they transfer it into wins and rounds?
Right. You know, on that last round with ESG on attack on Train, their attack was a little bit slow, as we talked about in the beginning. But in the end, once they actually got themselves onto the site, their coordination was good. They won their engagements, and they kept control of the site. Dexterity, on the other hand, they just seem to be losing all of their fights. They challenged the wrong angles, and they didn't apply the pressure when it was appropriate. And it really, honestly, seemed like it just came down to bad timing. That's Twitch getting that pick through the window, then Caveria trying to rush when someone was holding the angle on her. Yeah. It's just all kind of bad timing.
So let's see if they've learned from the previous rounds and learned from what they've seen these guys do and from each other, and see if they've got something up their sleeve now. See if their strategies can adapt. It's what we saw from Era. It's what we saw from Envy in the first quarterfinal. After the first couple of rounds, they figured each other out, and they came back with completely different plays, completely different strategies and ways to attack these different sites. Now, this is the first time we're going to see Euronics defending that middle floor, the train room, the mining room, and the dining room. What are they going to do with it? How are they going to do it? They're not going to run a Caveira, I don't think. That's not in their wheelhouse.
Right.
If that recruit stays true, if that recruit is intentional.
I don't think that
how or why.
But if it was, yes, how or why. If it is in fact a recruit, and it doesn't look like it is, I would have guessed it would be a shotgun SMG, but it's not in fact.
All right, so it's going through Shoot-Tex this time, takes his Jaeger, as to be fair, is more expected to use that hollow, so use that silencer.
Kind of necessary anyway, what with the ADSs.
Yeah, especially as we were talking about how vertical this site can be. If they do look to bring a fuse on attack, then the systems are incredible. And even if not, the way they pigeonhole attackers to be stuck out on that balcony, trophy systems really help save those windows, save those beams, keep the barbed wire alive. They're just a really good all-around gadget.
Yes.
As for who they play upstairs, well, Dexterity left it completely open and exposed. Euronics jumped in and had that themselves. Euronics are a team not
they are
looking
definitely
to do
holding
that.
upstairs.
There's barbed wire up here, we've got reinforcements up here, we've got batteries on some of the walls. They are ready to hold this piano room.
They're defending Train as if it is piano right now. Seemingly so. They've got 3 players up here. They've got 2 cameras positioned out, 2 out of 3 positioned to try and defend that particular room. And all that barbed wire, like you said.
Yeah,
as well as also bandit charges.
Panico will drone forward, Gohan will be there with his drone. Astro will then go in first, and they will drone for those 2. They will clean out the floors that they want to clean.
This is just typical aggression from Dexterity.
Gohan jumps straight in, and the Shoot-Tex has already been droned. He just sort of spear off to the right into the kitchen, so he pre-fired that corner. But Shoot-Tex kept his head in, and now Silence his drone is going to continue hunting for him, trying to find it. But because of the way they rotate, because we talked about how speedy it can be, he's cautious of this window and this angle first, before Silence gives him the all clear. Shoot-Tex, as it is actually gone all the way back over to White Stairs, where he's been joined by Secretly. Secretly can't come any further up because Cameraman is hanging on that window and keeping him pinned. Shoot-Tex can't hang around too long there because he's being pushed from below by Gohan and by these drones. So they need to find a way off of these White Stairs before they get pinched in.
A little worrisome from Dexterity. They didn't waste any time getting into the building initially, but now they're taking nice and slow clear with their drones, not wanting to get picked off by any of the roamers on Euronics. And historically, they have had players in that lower floor. Shoot-Tex, though, with a good pick onto Gohan to start off the round. Now that's Ash, and some would say the best player on Dexterity, already out.
Shoot-Tex picked off by Astro as he comes up that red staircase. Shoot-Tex is... Oh, very nice shot onto Secretly as he tries to trade it. Gets the headshots through the kill hole that Secretly made himself. And Shoot-Tex's mobility is non-stop moving, come back to bite him himself there as they have all the knowledge. Astro and Dexterity have all the knowledge going into it because they're droning it around it. Shoot-Tex is running a bit blind. Astro comes up the red staircase and gets himself a 3rd this round. Renewals has already picked off 1, so it's only a 2v3. Panico goes down to the sledge and the Ashigon. That takes a little bit out of the vertical game here that Dex are bringing, so that's going to help him. But as Cameraman and Astro are both using this red staircase now, they've got to be cautious of what else is nearby. Panari's over in Reading Room. Smoke is tucked deep inside Train and can hold that room for a little while on his own using the smoke charges, but Panari's coming back across to help him as 50 seconds ticks past on the clock. Panori seals up the door and gives them the angle. They're confident the dexterity push is all going to come from this side, from red, and they are right to do so. The timing that's there and the speed that's there, they didn't have time to properly rotate it around. Silence there outside on the balcony. It's got to come in and get through that barbed wire that's still there. The trophy system's keeping it safe. They do punch open the door. Inside mining they go. Smoke grenades on the window. Snooken takes a lot of damage from Astro, but he's still alive. 20 seconds on the clock as Astro steps into the smoke a little bit too much, but the diffuser is still outside. All they have to do from here in Euronics is keep it out there. Cameraman going to push on in aggressively. Takes the firefight up. Panari will drop him down. The plant's coming through. Astro's holding firm. Does take Snooken down as soon as he peeks. Astro, that's a 4th so far this game. Panari comes in and Astro takes the 8th to lock out the round for dexterity.
A fantastic round from Astro. We thought it was going to go in the way of a Gohan, in the way of ESG at the very beginning of the round, given that Gohan got picked off. But Astro just said, nah, dude, I got this.
Astro, very nice reactionary shots onto secretly into reading. Great positioning to pick off Shutex as he was rotating around after that first kill. And then just the composure to sit there and hold that angle, wait for Shutex to come around while his teams are... Cameraman's dying straight in front of him while the plant's going down to his side. And was just there and ready, and a great final shot there onto Panari.
He knew what he needed to do with the angle that needed to be covered. And that's the synergy that Dexterity has that not a lot of teams actually do. He had faith in his teammate to do that, but he knew that even if Cameraman died, he didn't have to worry about that angle.
Yeah, that is the backbone. I mean, the analysts that talked about it, Gohan is a star player for them. He's the in-game leader, is what a lot of the team's based around. But Astro is there aside. It's a two-man team. That this
well, not just Astro, but the team in its entirety. They communicate so well. They know
it's Astro and Gohan that their attack is built around by using everyone else to gather information for them, to feed it to them, and then these two will use all that info and move around as a pairing and just clean the map out before they bring everyone else in. So, back onto the top floor either way goes the Dexterity defense. This time they're not bringing the Cavalier to the table. They realize that the cheeky run-outs, the hiding downstairs is not going to work for them anymore. They've used it up enough, and Euronics are going to have to watch their flanks and clean them. So they're going to a little bit more standard defense.
And it makes a lot of sense. They will be trying to hold, again, Piano. But I'm curious to see if ESG, are they going to try and just funnel their way through the drop this time? Or are they going to try and establish themselves on one of the floors instead?
Panari up on the skylight again, pre-fires a couple of angles just to check there's no one there waiting to surprise him. Starts to have a look on through. The rest of his team are up on the roof, but again, last time they tried this, they fell down to just funneling into that red stairs dropper.
This is interesting.
They're already huddled around. Uses the smokes to take out any trophy systems, and then we'll use that to take out the cover.
You only need to throw one smoke.
So why did he throw 3?
I have no idea.
Interesting. Cameraman in Piano there is being pressured down from multiple angles. Renewals here on that window. Cameraman's got to stick onto that right-hand side. Good cover of the
It's
edge.
hard to get Cameraman out of an angle like that. Holding a 90-degree angle on a window is pretty much extremely easy.
Renewals is taking out, I believe, batteries on new jammers on that wall so they can try and open it up from the drop. So a lot being expended on this piano take again, and Gohan, I don't think, was spotted there by Secretly when he shot that window open. So he's going to try and stay sneaky underneath it, but also on that floor with him, he's got Panico, so he's got Valkyrie down here as well. So the flanks from red and white stairs can come out of any moment here by Dexterity, as they have a player close to either.
Yeah, and this is ESG 2 minutes into the round already. It's still trying to do pretty much the same thing they did last time.
Renewals just went in, I believe, into Piano. Shutex went in there to help him out. Shutex will get down, and Cameraman picks up a double, taking out the Blackbeard and the Capital. Now from below, Gohan starts to make himself aware and takes Panari out through the floor. They are now desperately low on players for Euronics as Snooken drops through the hatch as well. Panico will finish secretly off. Snooken does get one of the Gohan flanking up from underneath, but now he's against 5. Now a 1v5 ace is much harder, but he'll start off by taking Cameraman down, putting him in a 1v3. 40 seconds to go. He has time, but does he have the information he needs? Panico's still below. He's still watching on cameras. Anthrax is inside the freezer. Can't land the initial headshot, but he will get him on the second peak. Dexterity starts to pull ahead.
Yeah, another attack from ESG focused on the red stairs throughout the entire time they've been attacking this top floor. It's been the same exact thing, and it's just not working out. They need to get a mix-up. They need to try and address that site from a different situation.
To be fair, they did. Just
a little bit, but it's still focused
through piano windows.
It's still focused on the red stairs.
Yeah, it is. Like it's that side of the map, but then they send 2 players in through the piano windows. and neither of them can kill cameraman?
Yeah.
That should have been an easy 1v2. Okay, maybe one would fall, the other would trade, but both of them falling down to that one player shouldn't be happening at this level of play.
You know, what we've been talking about from Dexterity is that their synergy is fantastic, and what I'm seeing from ESG is quite the opposite.
Yes.
You know, they have the strats, they know what they're doing, but the communication just doesn't feel like it's there. If I were ESG and I were trying to take someone, a mute, out of the corner of piano, I would stick my Blackbeard on the far window to the south, and I would put one of my players to repel in from one of the west windows. And then when the west window repels in, maybe he dies, but he gets traded back by Blackbeard. You just need to have that communication to initiate that trade and take the ground that you're trying to take.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, it's not quite there. Renewal's downstairs again as Valkyrie at the moment.
Attackers
Stop throwing these cameras out.
bomb and defuse it.
Activating ammo.
Towards. He's so far the only one down this far, and possibly going to go back up soonish. But Dexterity are already making their way in. They're very fast getting inside that first floor most of their rounds before. Gohan will jump in through bakery off through the front door. Astro will come in through around kitchen area, and they will clean that floor out pretty quickly. This time, however, not quick enough to catch Valkyrie off guard, so he does make his way back up to join the rest of his team, but they're confident they have control of these floors, and they start rappelling up pretty quickly.
And what I'd like to see from Euronics here is maybe try and capitalize on the aggression that Santos Dexterity has been putting out throughout this entire match and peek out yourself.
Gohan droning for himself there, actually. We haven't seen that much since all this game. And he was just about to spot, I believe, the Valkyrie who was hiding inside the train room. She is now off her cameras and is moving around again, so she may have been seen, and Gohan also repositioned.
Pretty spread out here on this attack. And it is kind of worrisome. And Astro,
ooh,
looking away at the wrong time.
Timing. Shutex just comes around the corner as Astro unscopes and looks away. And this time, that game of cat and mouse goes in favor of Shutex. Astro came out on top last time, of course, and that's what snowballed that win for them. But it's just one kill.
The fact that
Dexterity have still got a hunt on. Valkyrie gets droned out and then will run straight towards Gohan to trade it back. Nice and even now with Valkyrie down. Thankfully, however, Valkyrie's benefit, those cameras, her gadget, can still be used by dead players, so she's not completely down and out yet. She can still help provide information and feed it over. Shutex still running around now down this floor level. He's still being very, very mobile, very, very aggressive. And you can see it here, like Dexterity know about it, they're ready for it, and Gohan is checking below him, checking the flank angles every time he moves another few feet.
Yeah, Euronics is initiating the game with Jaeger and Valkyrie, and every time Dexterity is answering with Ash and Twitch.
There we go. Gohan knew it was going to come. All he has to do is wait for a couple of minutes, and Shutex is going to run to crosshairs one way or another. Now that he's gone, it's safe to start pressuring the top floors again.
And another 3v5, or 3v4 rather.
Yep. Now, the last time it was a 3v5, however, Euronics did actually manage to pull it out of the bag. So we'll see if they can do it again with 45 seconds on the clock. Dexterity are now still largely outside the building. There is an Ash proning her way in through the top floor. Does get taken out by a great drop shot from secretly in Freezer, bringing it back to a 3v3. Silence is coming from the same angle, and he's the man with the diffuser. Grenades going off underneath, and cameraman's inside piano, so they're going to push from this west side forward. Panico coming up the white staircase, does get that flank on, but will fall to Doc. Panari actually helps him out and then peeks into blue corridor to take out cameraman. It's all on Silence now, and with 18 seconds to go, he gives his position away by a little bit of accidental pre-fire. And just like before, Euronics hold in that 3v4, leveling out the scoreline.
So yes, Euronics is technically losing the roamer game. They're losing 2 players. But it's not necessarily about the time in that situation, because Euronics' last 3 players are always just clutching it out. 3v5, 3v4, it doesn't matter, they're winning the engagements.
Yeah, that top floor hold, it comes down to those final 3 players, and that's all they seem to need. Panari, very nicely done in that white stairs and blueprint corridor location.
Yeah.
And then secretly there, inside the freezer, picking off 2 very important kills.
They just have all the bases covered. And there's not enough pressure coming from Dexterity. They're not opening enough, maybe open one of the freezer walls, you know, bring a thermite. Take piano.
The reason that Euronics can win these freezer fights and can do it with so many few people, they know that there's only limited places they have to watch.
They don't have to worry about it.
There's nowhere else open. There's nowhere else that's been blown up. There's no other angles. And they can just hold and play their game.
Yeah.
Dexterity on forcing them out of their comfort zone.
One of the beautiful things about Siege is that you can mold the site to your advantage as an attacker, but Dexterity's just not doing that.
10 seconds to go.
So, down now into the mining room and fireplace hall again, down in that middle floor bomb site. Dexterity's defense has to go. Euronics last time around spent a long time taking control of an empty top floor. Let's see if they can drone it and take it a bit quicker this time over. Panico spotted jumping back in through that window. I believe the drone would have seen her throw both cameras out, so they might be able to find the two of them that are there before pushing on in and rappelling up that side. But once again, no Caviera, that's gone. That trump card has been used up. Dexterity going back to more standardized play, bringing Panico right up to the top floor again.
A slow game coming out so far from ESG, just droning out the roamers, trying to get a grasp on the situation. But it looks like they're going to be pressuring primarily from the roof. And that is an interesting grenade onto that drop. He could have used an Ash Charge.
Yeah, well, Astro takes renewals down before secretly quickly trades him back here as he jumped out of this piano window. Was not expecting another player to still be hiding behind the air conditioning unit. So they do get the Blackbeard for the Jaeger. I'm going to take that trade and be quite happy with it.
Yeah.
So
looks like it's pretty much setting up to be the same exact attack from Euronics as it was last time. And they had pretty good luck. They did win this round.
Gohan's also very low right now. Didn't quite see what caused it, but he's lost a lot of health. So one stray bullet may take him down. Oh, the Twitch drone, but tries to jump out aggressively, and despite secretly having his drone in his hand, gets the gun back out in time to put Gohan down. And I mean, that feels like a little bit of desperation dexterity. Two players jumping out onto this same balcony, especially one of them with Gohan being as low health as he is.
I mean, maybe it was a good idea, but I felt like it was a little bit too early. I think he saw him, yeah, on the cam, which secretly he's going to now get. But yeah, it was a little bit too early for that.
Yeah, so 3v4 in favor of Euronics, who are now on the top floor, have control of piano and starting to open up the trapdoor. Last time, remember, they let their Twitch in through that AE bomb site window, started the plant, dropped Benari down through the hatch and held the site coverage and held them outside from that red corridor during that entire window. Once again, Dexterity have only left one player even close to the site, and it's Silence inside the train, who is being pinned and being sprayed down from above by multiple angles. He now falls, and the A site is deeply into ESG territory.
And Dexterity have to get a 2 versus 4 now with must be a wonderful retake if they're going to make this work.
Cameraman's pushing towards the side, trying to hold more aggressively. Shoot-Tex is trying to hold off the Panico flank. Both of them miss a lot of shots and don't do serious damage. Shoot-Tex coming off momentarily worse, but it does mean Panico cannot flank that way. Cameraman tries to dance across the red corridor and will fall to Snooken, and the plant's going to go down momentarily. Shoot-Tex drops through the hat. Panico can't find him there, and Shoot-Tex will punish him for it, putting Euronics back in the lead again.
A great attack from Euronics, and ultimately a poor defense from Dexterity. Now you see what they're trying to do, because I've done it before. They're trying to set up Train Room in a purely retake situation, but unfortunately they're getting too aggressive in the middle of the round and ultimately getting picked off before they can initiate the retake, before the attackers have made their way into the site.
So Dexterity need this round to stay on Cafe, to stay on map number
Attackers
1.
need to locate and defuse as many bombs
They
as
fail,
they can.
then it will be a Euronics victory, and we will head on over to Consulate as our second map. A map which, in some ways, has a lot of similarities to this when it comes to getting inside the building.
And it's kind of interesting that ESG is now at match point, because Dexterity has been looking so incredibly strong throughout this entire match. Their synergy has been phenomenal.
They have, but they've fallen down when it comes to defending that train room.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to do it, and attacking the bar on the top floor.
Yeah.
Those are their two crutch points where Euronics have been clutching that attack on the top floor and successfully attacking that middle wall side every time. Other than that, everything around that world, yeah, Dexterity are great.
Yeah.
But those are their
5
only
seconds
two
left before insertion.
fail points, and Euronics are doing a great job at exploiting them.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
Whoops.
Awkward.
Camera feed.
Gets it done the second time over.
He knows.
He knows.
Yeah.
And we'll reset. But again, Euronics now are defending and holding that piano, and they're holding that top floor like they did before. They are controlling that whole area, and they're not going to let Dexterity inside too easily. Not for that vertical game. So, rappelling up the side, cameraman will head on up, starts to breach charge open the trapdoor. Not often you see breach charges these days. And will then probably switch up and start droning in a moment. That's what he does 9 times out of 10. He'll be droning for Gohan, he'll be droning for Astro, and then help them in. Silence will stay out there on that balcony window watching the bomb site at A. He will then jump in when they need to plant. Panico, slightly different spot here.
Watching the rotation for the roamers.
Watching the rotate, watching Shoot-Tex is running around aimlessly, and maybe he'll catch him on his way out of the,
Spray the window, do
reading
it.
room.
Do it, Astro.
Astro is just waiting for the all clear. There it is, the drone spots him out. Spinari gets away just in time. He takes one bullet to the leg. Screech on out. Does no, oh, Astro, very nice shot as he dances across the window. Took a little bit of damage, but now that's piano under their control. They're coming in. The drones have already told them it's clear. And they're cleaning up the barbed wire and the trophy systems. and looking to move into the next set. This is a good take so far from Dexterity.
You can see Gohan covering the cigar room while Astro drones the other hallway.
Secretly doesn't get the first bullet off that he needs, and Gohan with a beautiful flick will shut him down as he peeks up that white staircase. Renewals looks to come up and try and trade it back, and he does get the kill onto Gohan, who was pinned inside the toilet. But it's a small consolation, especially as he's taking a lot of damage himself from it. He's very, very low now, and has to try and figure out a way to get back to safety. Top floor is controlled by Dexterity with 3 of their players on it, and the last one outside waiting to jump on soon. Drones are now watching those white staircase. Silence is cautious as the hatch is now opened. This is a push that Dexterity haven't done onto the site yet. They haven't really played the piano. They went in, they killed everyone up there before to kill them, but then they went in and pushed from the windows. There's no one on the windows anymore. They're all inside, they're all upstairs. Shutex is doing his thing. He's running around, but they found him. Astro, not this time. Cameraman will take him out. And now they're feeling even more confident about pushing the site. Only 2 players left up, but again, one of them is Smoke, who can hold the site for quite a while if you let him get the charges off. He's looking running around inside train. He's got to be cautious of the holes above. There's 2 players up here now looking through it. Astro is going to pick up the kill as Renewals will trade Panico back. 2 of them dropping through the hatch now, but they know Renewals is right over the far distance. Cameraman watching the door. He's going to try and get the spray through the wall. Hole opens up. Cameraman there through the fireplace is going to prone around and get the angle he needs. Dexterity hold, and we are going to head to overtime. The scoreline pushes towards 4 rounds to 4.
A great attack from Dexterity. Good coordination, and ultimately they just took piano, moved their way in. No complication, not trying to, do anything floofy or new, just basic take. And again, the retake from ESG, the same as the retake from Dexterity, just wasn't enough.
So, as we look at the last couple of rounds, Dexterity have learned from it. They've adapted to that last attack they used on that middle floor, and they changed the way they played, and it paid off for them. A little bit of luck involved, I'm not going to lie. The kill that Gohan got onto Secret Release Mute on that white staircase, just not quite there, just not quite enough for them. Gohan flicked around and took Secret Release out. Secret Release had the better position, he had the element of surprise, but he just couldn't make it count. He was punished for it.
Yeah. Interesting hole from Panico. That makes me think that they're going to have a heavy roaming presence, especially in reading room. Going to try and deny that entire cigar door from there.
Yeah, you have players. I mean, it's a regular plant location. We see teams that often try and plant in that spot. They push from red, they push from piano, which we've seen Euronics do.
Yeah.
And then they get in, but they don't want to go too deep. Can't control the rest of the bar, but they can start planting there. Now, if they don't look after the floors below, which Gohan's going to be hiding in, that's what they use this Caviera for every time. He's going to be able to come up underneath and take out the plant.
4-4 now, overtime. Santos Dexterity versus Euronics on Cafe. Defending the top floor first. Now that is obviously what we expect. Now, most teams haven't had a lot of success attacking this, or they haven't had a lot of success in general attacking this top floor. So I'm curious to see if Dexterity, are they going to be playing as dynamically as they have been with the roaming, or are they going to try and just have a hard anchor?
So, onto the top floor once more. Panari starts opening up the skylight. We'll eventually get through there in a moment. Do open up the hatch, and well, Renewals is checking for these cameras. He doesn't want to get jumped out, and again, doesn't want to give them all the information for free. Does decide that it's clean, so we'll come up towards the window. Once again, cameraman, tucked on that right-hand side, on this south wall.
I cannot help but feel like Renewals is on the wrong window here. He just needs to move to that east window, and then he'll have the flexibility to get rid of cameraman. Put one of your teammates on the south window. Or sorry, the west window.
Yeah. Or as I say, the teammates like to drop in, and they are doing it again. They drop in through red hatch, and then they come through that prone hole to get to behind bar. So why are you sitting on this window if they're going to come from behind the bar?
Right.
We want that crossfire. You should be over by the east. But now he's going to stay, because Astro did put a bullet into his shield from upper in that blueprint corridor. So he's going to stay here, and he's going to try and hold that angle instead, which means cameraman, while he's about to be droned, doesn't have to worry too much about that Blackbeard. Yeah. Go ahead and check in the Valkyrie camera inside the bomb site before Panico will then rotate around and put himself in a slightly better position to use his C4 through that floor, if it so comes to it. Panari's still up on this hatch. He's still trying to find a pick down through the hole, but Dexterity is staying firm, staying true, and are not giving him the easy kill. This cameraman finally picks off
doing work again.
There we go. He's inside piano. Yes, they droned him. Yes, they knew about him, but Renewals went in from that same window. Shutex tries to prone through behind the bar, and shocker, cameraman stands up, gets one kill, There's no crossfire to trade him back.
Cameraman knows he doesn't even have to peek here. He just has to waste time.
Uses his C4, not sure where it is. He hears the barbed wire punch, does lose that firefight, but Astro's there to trade it straight back for him. Panari has finally rotated around and will trade Astro out, but Cameraman is down, so it is still a 3v3 in the grand scheme. Euronics with a nice recovery after throwing Shootex away for free. Have 36 seconds to start pushing into the site. Silence holding deep inside A. Valkyrie is still downstairs with cameras and a C4 ready to blow someone up. There's Gohan sneaking his way inside the site, hiding inside the cupboard right next to where Snooken and Secretly are looking to push in. Snooken has the diffuser and 20 seconds to put it down. Secretly, just inside the cigar room, is going to try and peek in towards Freezer, but there's no one in there to worry about. Panari cautious of the flank. The shot comes across from the A site. Silence takes down Secretly, then gets a second on Panari. The bomb's going to come up and over and try and land a Gohan's head, but Dexterity kick off overtime with the first win.
And unfortunately, ESG unable to put enough pressure onto that piano room to actually take it in time. They eventually did, but they lost too many players on the take. There was no efficient crossfire established on those windows, which is incredibly surprising.
Once again, Euronics falling down to spending so much time and resources on that piano take and having nothing left for the site.
It almost seems like in general their focuses get a little bit too focused on one particular thing, a little bit of tunnel vision going on here, and they don't actually take the time to spread out and move their resources around.
However, now we're back on the flip side. We're on a Euronics defense of the top floor bomb site. Dexterity have not been able to crack this yet. They lost a 3v5, they lost a 3v4. The three players that are left alive, one in the freezer, one over by the A site, and sometimes one flanking, but more often than not, also playing around that A site and the blueprint corridor. Those three are just unmovable.
Right. Every time it's because what Dexterity is doing is they're winning the roamer game, they're killing two people downstairs, and then they're moving up. But they don't have the ability to manipulate the site in any way whatsoever, so all Euronics has to do is, like you said, just cover 3 different lanes.
Now, what I'd like to see, and this is a big change from what they did before, but once you have cleaned out those lower floors, which they are doing successfully, use that verticality and clean out that A site from below. You can go into reading, you can go into laundry.
Maybe bring a buck.
Yeah, bring a buck. You've got grenades on Panico if he still has them. You've got Ash charges, which previously you were saving for some reasons rather before. Go underneath, make a hole underneath the A bomb site, flush out someone from in there. Even if you don't use it dramatically, have one person around, spray them, make them fear. Just make them move a little bit. Don't let them play in their dug-in positions.
The reason they're not doing that, if I were to guess, is because after they've won the roamer game, they've gotten rid of those 2 players sitting downstairs. There's only a minute left on the clock every time. They don't have the time to, do that, to drone out those people who are defending from upstairs and then nade them or ash them from underneath.
So, Red Dropper is opened up by Cameraman. The drones will then go on in and EMP out anything that's waiting for them below. This time, taking it a little bit slower, and also notice very different positions already. Astro's going down with Gohan to these A windows. They're repelling, but Snooken will take Gohan out quickly. So the advantage is straight back into Euronics' favor, and he can just heal himself straight back up to full following that.
Every round, Gohan always seems to either A, get a pick extremely early on, or B, get picked extremely early on.
I also didn't even realize Snooken was doing this with the reflex sight from that position. Well, the way he's playing across the bar and the way he's playing for that long range save, like the ACOG fits that. You sit behind the A-bomb, you just fire all the way across that bar.
Seemingly he's been using reflex. I think, yeah, Snooken's been using reflex this entire match. I think it's just kind of his thing, his preference. Yeah, it just makes the long range kills he picks up a little bit more impressive, but also helps him survive when they do push through blue, when they do try and come in through the windows. He's not zooming way past and can't hit the things. Right.
So, Dexterity slowing things up a little bit. Minute 20 left now on the clock, and they're still all on the roof.
They're not even
lost Gohan over at A, and they've kind of already given up on that attack now, and Astro's come all the way back up and over. He's now inside the piano and does get a great kill on Panari. Takes that out, gives him control, finds the camera as well. So they have this now, but they've done this before. It's where do they go from here? Now what's your option? Panico has come in to join him, and he's going to start to think about pushing through the blueprint corridor. But with the freezer open, Cameraman's got to join him, and they've got to be cautious. Shootex is on the white staircase and gets spotted by Astro, but they zap him. So Shootex is not going to peek up now. He knows it's known. He knows they're in piano. He knows standing up that staircase would be a bad move. So he's holding firm until he hits him in the barbed wire. The head is there. Shootex just about dodges it and drops down. Sprints all the way through. Panico's actually dropped. He's inside the train room. Snooken comes around to peek now that he's in the barbed wire. And Astro's down. Renewals will be taking Panico out from below. And it's 2 members of Dexterity left with 28 seconds to go. They are trying different things. They gave it a shot on those A windows. They've tried slightly different pushes, but they just can't make it work. Silence, however, picks off Shutex. It's going to help. Secretly will trade cameraman down there, and Silence has to find 3. Snooker picks up his next of the round, and that is all down now to our final round. 5 rounds to 5 each.
Yeah, like you said,
map we decided here.
Dexterity tried to mix it up. They went for a different attack. They didn't even challenge the roamers downstairs. They didn't bother. They felt like they didn't need to. But in the end, they didn't have a thermite to open up their way into the site, and they got forced into those same exact lanes, and they lost the fights.
So, Dexterity now have to go downstairs 2 holes.
Which they also have not been able to do.
They've not been able to do. They
Right.
can't hold it.
Their upstairs attack isn't working, and their downstairs defense isn't working. Now, again, we've talked about how aggressive Dexterity is as a team, and it is really, truly working against them on this particular defense. They play 1 or 2 players in the site, on all the rest of the 3 waiting to take the site back after the attackers have gone in. But what's happening is at least 2 or 3 players are getting picked off before that even happens. There's too much aggression happening. And all they need to do is just be a little bit more passive on this particular defense, and they should be able to take it.
Panico is Desert Eagling open the hatch. So the shotgun would obviously open it completely. The Desert Eagles it open so that it stays relatively intact. And we use it to throw a camera up and out. This then goes to land
Wow.
a little bit too far over the edge.
No, I think that was intentional.
But no one has spawned on that spawn point for the entire game.
It looks like he was setting up a camera for a spawn peak.
No one else is on that side of the building. I'm
He
very
moved.
confused by that.
I'm trying to rationalize it.
Yeah. No, hey, we'll ask him later, see if he can explain it. Gohan is back on Caviera again for this. We've also seen him already above the bomb sites now, making holes in the floor down towards the A window. If anyone vaults in, he can shoot them from above. Can they hold the top floor, though? Now, they did have 3 players on there briefly. We'll see if all 3 stay up there and for how long, or if they're forced to rotate down and away, because Euronics have had a good job controlling this top floor in previous rounds because it's been given to them. Dexterity are now playing up there. They're not going to give it up so easily. So how strong is that hold?
Definitely a different approach from Dexterity. We won't know how well it works until Euronics win or lose. Astro's dedicating himself to that.
Yeah. Just locking off his backside. Gohan could be there to support him. He left it open, but he's just gone now into toilets. Panico down in reading room is using obviously his pre-placed cameras to time his peak. Secretly, like before, is out on this balcony. Cameraman C4 just goes off there onto the floor above, makes a big hole in the roof of the train room. But the fire are already coming through. You've got Euronics inside now. They've got control of the train room. Firebolts are going off to make sure the side is clear, and Renewals now peek over towards Blueprint Corridor, and okay. Dexterity plays the players up here this time, but they've lost control of the important part of the floor. Renewals does lose a shield to a good peek up from Astro, so it forces him back a little way, but Astro hasn't really managed to use it to reclaim anything more of the floor. He's actually fallen back down further, closer towards the bomb site. As the clock kicks down, the more defenders alive, the better it's going to be for Dexterity, but they have completely fallen off the top floor. So can they hold on to the bomb site floor? With the floor opened up, Euronics are looking down through these holes, looking to pick off people inside the train room. They've normally got 1 or 2 kills through those holes before they make their final push. Panari this time picks off the first one onto Cameraman inside the train room itself. Panico flanking up from underneath, flanking up from the very bottom floor. Just waiting for that moment. Blackbeard is on the staircase right above him. Snookum's drone jumps down and just see Panico underneath it. Astro, however, will go upstairs and take out Secretly. In fact, that's out on the balcony. He peeked him out through the window and takes Secretly down. So it is trading back 1-to-1. With 30 seconds to go here, Euronics are slowing it very, very far down. Gohan peeks around, tucked in the corner of Christmas. Gohan gets down onto Panari, takes some shots at the Renewals, who does realize the flank's going to come in from Panico, but can't pick it up. Dexterity are holding true, and Sutex will fall inside the train room to Astro. Blackbeard's already down, so it's all on Snookum. He's the last man standing, and he's got to kill 3 players. Can't do it at all. Map number 1 goes to Dexterity.
A fantastic defense from Dexterity, and exactly what I wanted to see from them. They went a little bit more passive. They applied pressure as roamers, but did not get picked off.
Yes.
And they ultimately won that engagement with the Twitch, who had been massacring them through that window.
Very nicely done indeed. Yes, they put players upstairs, and yes, they were forced off, but they were forced off and healthy, as you say. It's the main thing. They didn't get picked. They didn't die. They were still all there when it came to the final push, and Euronics had no time left. So they had to walk into these still in place barbed wire, these kill traps, these holes in the wall, and they were cut down. So Dexterity take Cafe Dostoevsky, map number 1. Done. forget about it, move on.
Now we got Consulate.
Euronics, Consulate. We talked about it briefly. It's a similar kind of style in terms of getting inside the building is one of the toughest parts.
Yes, absolutely. On Consulate, yes. I would say you're right. Getting into the building is complicated. But I would say, for the most part, it falls down to the defenders and whether or not they can keep control of their vertical game. So, on basement, you have, vertical game from above. In lobby, you have vertical game from above and below. And then upstairs, you have it from below. So it really just comes down to if they're going to be playing roamers downstairs, if they're going to be able to keep control of that particular section of the map.
It's something we saw. It was a map that Euronics played a lot in the closed qualifiers, a map that a lot of other teams played in the closed qualifiers. And as you say, because of the vertical game now, we're starting to see one, sometimes two players left on the bomb site. Everyone else is spread out around the map.
Right.
We're seeing Newcastle strategies. We're seeing strats where they were just completely rechained and redesign the map layout, using castle to seal off and open things up, using reinforcements, using impact holes. And the floors are played in completely different ways. So to see how that translates to dexterity and whether or not they are ready for it, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So a couple of big moments. That ace from Astro is going to be one that he doesn't forget anytime soon.
Yeah, that was
it's
fantastic.
A beautiful moment for him. And yeah, cameraman as well. A couple of very clutch moments up in that top piano room, holding off that two-man rappel in.
And that accidental, I must assume, from Gohan jump out a little bit premature.
A little bit overly aggressive on that one. But they had the camera, they had the knowledge, but yeah.
Yeah. He was going to get down from that at that level of health anyway when he hit the floor, so.
Yeah. So there's a couple of nice points, some very smart use of like the pre-play skill holes. You saw secretly every time they jumped onto the attack of the mining room that he would jump down and spray open the back wall of the red corridor and just completely open his way through and have a sight line in towards Christmas every single time. And sometimes it paid off, sometimes it did nothing, but it's just those thought out, those planned strategies that just done and executed within the first 30 seconds of the round every time. And then you adapt from there, and then you try and learn more.
And that felt like dexterity. They really had that synergy going on, that absolute trust in each other. The communication was phenomenal, and it was visible.
Yeah, there it is, that final round kill onto Snooken. So, we touched on it briefly, but we're going into Consulate. It's one of those sites which, again, now the top floor has become the go-to for a lot of teams, their first choice. Yeah. And it's, as I say, completely reorganized. It's one of the tougher ones to get into based on, all right, do we hold the B site? Rare to see people.
Well, where do you take it from, really? You take it from piano? That's it. That's the best you can do. But taking piano in and of itself.
Take it out of admin. But we've also seen teams with very strong holds on that admin end of the map. Now, that's where you put your castle maps. That's where you put a lot of your rotates. And even if they do get in, you can be downstairs in Visa and take them out from below again as well. So
establishing yourself somehow to take people out of the site, depending on whether or not you're attacking, or whether you're attacking A or B, is very, very difficult on Consulate.
All right, so all 10 players are in and good to go. Let's have a quick look over at Consulate, just in case you've forgotten what it looks like and need a refresher, and get this game underway. As it is, Dexterity are one map away from advancing through to tomorrow's semi-final to play Continuum.
Right.
To play the current, quote-unquote, world champions.
Well, they won Season 3.
Season 3 champions, yeah, but still only North America and Europe, so quote-unquote world champions. But still, current Season 3 champions, a phenomenal force all the same. And Dexterity are going to be on Cloud 9. And as we've just heard from Euronics in their own video, they are a very momentum-based team.
Yeah.
The first few rounds in this map could denote their future.
And that's likely working against them, but at the same time, you have Dexterity starting on attack, and I think that's honestly going to favor ESG. Defense is pretty advantageous on this particular map.
All right, so we got a small teaser at Dexterity's preferred starter lineup. Not going to see it. So, just have to back out for a moment. Lobby got to be restarted real quickly, so we'll talk on that. Looking at, we talked briefly on that top floor, talked briefly on that. The garage play, yes, you say, it's a vertical, you pressure it from inside piano and hold it on there. But we're starting to see more and more teams, you drop down and you open up the garage door, and then you ignore it completely. They've just run away and just...
Oftentimes on garage, yeah, you can ignore it completely, but what I find is a lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll open it up and they'll just stick one person out there, and all he has to do is just apply a little bit of pressure. But the reason they do that is because even if they leave it completely, the reason they do that is a defender cannot just peek garage door unless they already have prior knowledge that there's nobody out there. So let's say they have a Valkyrie cam, yeah, they can move as fluid as they want because if there's no one out there. But most teams typically don't. And as an attacking team, it is safe to bet on the fact that people are not going to want to move out from behind White Van, not going to want to move out from behind Pillar because they don't trust that there's no one outside. And yeah, moving into the drops, it's an efficient way of taking the site in of itself. And with Hibana added to the meta, it's extremely easy to get those drops open and the garage open. Not a lot of teams run both Hibana and Thermite, but this is one of the maps, especially on basement attack.
It's also a map where we see a lot of, as you say, destruction. We see a lot of grenade-heavy teams. We see
Yes.
A lot of the destruction.
Buck and Sledge both.
Buck and Sledge both in some situations. But it's another one that does fall down to if teams aren't using the verticality, if teams are just trying to take a floor and move along it, where if they're opened up to a smoke and echo, a double hold, that can just lock off an entire end of the map for 30 seconds of the round with some well-placed smoke charges.
Right.
And bringing his shotgun in, allowing the rotate holds, and just his general speed and mobility.
Oh, I think we all... Yeah, smoke is extremely useful on this, especially on this particular map. But, you know, he kind of falls into that in every map, too. He's amazing on Clubhouse, which is almost the polar opposite to this map.
However, we didn't see Dexterity run him at all in their defense.
Which was surprising, to say the least.
Yeah, so we'll see if they switch it up, if they use the same operators here, or if they have a different pool for the consulate selection.
It is a similar map to Cafe, if you really think about it. Again, Cafe, one of the more vertical maps. This is definitely one of the more vertical maps. That has the destruction on almost all of the floors and ceilings is... Well, that's pretty much why.
Yeah, so it's time we're in and good to go. Taking that console off his meeting room, top floor bomb site is Dexterity's first option for defense, and there it is. They do now have a smoke in their lineup. This one,
yep.
Gohan bringing it there, dabbled in it, but it wasn't always there. And they start to set up very, very quickly. Looking at where some of these reinforcements are, that one there will hold off the connector window. Some teams are actually starting to leave open the wall to yellow stairs from the B site now. They don't reinforce it.
You play aggressive on yellow stairs?
You play either aggressive on yellow stairs. People don't rappel down and...
No, it's pretty much a death trap.
It. You're rarely playing someone inside the B site these days. You often play it from a distance and shoot it around. But as we talked about, Dexterity did just send someone over to reinforce it afterwards. But, you know, it's something to talk about.
It's something that teams do that, so it makes sense to talk about. Yeah. We've got a rotation hole, a full walk hole from Dexterity into the main hallway, which is kind of surprising, just a little bit. As well as barbed wire and everywhere we would expect. And that, also very surprising, a hole leading from the Visa stairs into admin. Looks like they're going to try and hold the south windows in admin from the stairs themselves. So not actually exposing yourself to the rest of the windows on the east, or sorry, on the east side.
With all of that set up over by the admin offices, over by the east end of the building, Euronics are all on the west. Spawn all out this side. We've got Blackbeard hovering underneath that B window, waiting to rappel on up, and is checking what's in there for him. Flashbang over and drone again, so he doesn't get insta-killed. As the rest of his team are joining on this side, secretly up on the skyline before Shutex joins him. EMPs go down. Takes out the camera that's just inside the door and anything that might be waiting on the other side of it. Firebolt on there too. Silence was close by, but he quickly gets up and steps away without taking anything serious from it. Panico downstairs in the basement. Panari is in piano, so is vulnerable to a flank from Panico if he times it right.
It's interesting that Panari is playing Hibana and not, for example, a Buck in this situation, because you can't really do much with Hibana, especially on this site.
Renewals on that B window picks up the first kill of this round. Astro does fall, and he sees Silence, his gun peek around the corner in half a second, but Silence has to turn around because Shutex has come up the yellow staircase and taking him out. Gohan now on the far side of the bathroom. Oh, what a shot, Renewals!
That was insane.
One of the few players to use the DMR on Blackbeard. And well, when you can do things like that with it, it makes complete sense. Cameraman deep inside the A site now has got to focus a lot of his attention up this end as Panico has been taken out by Panari. That flank not paying off. And Cameraman now has to find 5. Euronics had a great start to this, flushing Dexterity out from all their hidey holes, taking them off as they show up. Jutex does fall. Cameraman sees him as he steps on up, but 1 man down for 4 players. Getting the information on where exactly Cameraman is means he's not long for this world. Cameraman falls and Panari picks up the kill to give Euronics round number 1.
And that's the same exact issue that they were having with their train room defense. Dexterity being a little bit too aggressive. and getting picked off early into the round. When you don't have any players on the site, you can't hold them. And ESG, they hadn't actually stepped foot into the site before 4 people had died.
So, time now to switch it on over, and Euronics' first choice for defense, in fact, is to go downstairs. You're going to the garage and the cafeteria, which, as we say, they are very interchangeable bomb sites these days. It's not so much one side or the other.
You can even play the lobby if you want.
You can play the lobby, which is something else we saw a lot. Saw players playing that lobby, and again, while we say picking the lobby, they then play the floor above. They put 3 or 4 players on the floor up there. So a lot of options for them to play with. Definitely things that we've seen through Europe and they'd have trained against.
With all the different bomb sites, with upstairs, typically the reason people play it is because it's extremely easy to just hold. You don't have to worry too much about it. You can hold all the windows at 90-degree angles and not actually challenge anything downstairs. With the basement, it's another story. You typically have to have some roamers because you have to deny that piano, and if you don't, you're going to be dealing with people shooting at you from above. But with lobby, you can go either or. You can go upstairs or you can go downstairs, and you can pretty much deny, and you can deny the site from both. You can deny anyone planting from the drop downs in the lobby itself. So you can't plant at front door if you're holding from downstairs. Just toss a C4 up.
So looking at this garage and looking at the old school meta and the vertical, but bandit tricks. Why don't we see those anymore? Explain to the world.
I would say probably, especially with the addition of Habana, it's pretty much like there's too many options for the attackers. So you have your thermite, and you can hear him as he's putting out his thermite charge, and it takes a while but Habana could just shoot it once and then detonate it and open the hole, and then at the same time they can both try to challenge you at the same time. There's not really, and you've got Twitch, you got Thatcher on top of that. There's no way as a bandit that you're going to be able to stop someone from opening up the garage, especially actively. You just can't do it. There's too many factors involved, too many things going in the favor of the attackers. Now, if in theory a team wanted to use mute for that particular purpose and bandit at the same time, maybe you could make it work, do a double juggle, but I don't see that working too well, to be honest, especially considering mute is better used to deny dronage. So there's not a lot of people active banditing anymore, unless you're thinking of, like, for example, small garage and chalet, maybe.
I mean, other
but then you've got to deal with grenades, But
talking in consulate, but that explains it completely. What are our chances of seeing a fuse, thanks to the change with him, when it comes to getting control of piano and then flushing people out of the garage
obviously
below?
it's possible, but
but where are his strengths and what are the downsides? What do you have to sacrifice if you are bringing that fuse in?
Well, I suppose you have to sacrifice flexibility, because he is a 1 speed. He can't really move around the map. And you have to commit yourself to something like, so if you're attacking basement, you have to commit yourself to a piano take, and you force yourself into that. And if the other team realizes you have a fuse, they're going to know. They're ready.
Yeah.
But here we are getting into the next round.
So, round number...
And no fuse.
2. No fuse brought out from Dexterity yet.
Still garage hold.
They may not be expecting a garage first choice, so we'll see.
It is kind of a mix-up.
Yeah. See what they do if they switch it up, and more importantly, how ESG set this. We talked about how it's a vertical game. You've got to get control of the floor above. You've got to hold that as a defense. How many people do they leave downstairs? Who do they leave downstairs? Now, they aren't bringing any 3 armors. They aren't bringing any rooks. They aren't bringing any dogs, which they've played a lot of in the past. They have a very, very mobile team here.
And I'm thinking, you're definitely right, I'm thinking it's going to be heavy roaming. And there you are, opening up the drops from Master. That makes me think that, even the lobby drop. Yeah, they're definitely going to be keeping control of all the way upstairs to keep control of first floor, to keep control of basement.
What happened to Bandit? Bandit has no health left. Someone made a hole in something, and Bandit was standing right next to it.
And there he goes.
Or something else more sinister. We'll find out.
Who knows?
Right, no idea. Well, now he's got no health, so that's that. So, we will get into round number 2 in a moment, I'm sure of it. But as it is, Euronics still 1-0 up. We're still looking to get that attack round for Dexterity underway.
And looking at that first round, or just like in the first few seconds of that second round, rather, that it looked like they were trying to hold top floor in order to hold first floor, in order to hold basement, which is, again, a testament to the verticality of this game. The drop-downs allow you to move pretty much wherever you want, especially as a defender if you've already got it pre-positioned for you.
Now, it's also going to be a tough one to do against Dexterity. We saw Dexterity have a great game on Cafe of droning for they're their two first flaggers, for
And they were-
Gohan and for
yeah.
Astro. Now, yes, you've got all the hatches open, yes, you can rotate down, but you have to stay alive against that. So if Euronics are planning to start top and have them drone it and have them chase them down and then drop down and have them drone middle and drop down, yeah, it's going to burn a lot of time. It's going to take them a long time to get through all of that. But as soon as you lose 2 or 3 from there, you've completely opened up the rest of the map.
The Astro and Gohan roamer hunting combo is vicious. And when I, typically on a map like Consulate, when I see a roaming team, they're trying to deny as much as possible, as long as possible, I would say that team knows what they're doing. But against Gohan Astro, it's entirely possible that it's going to work against them, because hunting down those players on this particular map who are roaming is going to come along basically down to game sense and 2-player communication, and they have that in abundance.
So, third time lucky. Loading on back in.
We got this.
We'll give it another shot.
It's going to be Garage again.
No obligation to take
No
the bomb
fuse-
site. They
no
can
fuse
change again. Same with their dexterity attacking lineup, but they are choosing to stick with it. So down to the basement go Euronics, bringing exactly the same defensive operators setting up so far as we've seen before. So
There's no Hibana coming out from Dexterity, which is kind of surprising to me. That makes me think that they're just going to go for a garage wall take. No overcomplicating it, not trying to get any of the drops, just straight into garage wall.
So, as these traps are reinforced, as you mentioned, with the lack of Hibana, it gets stronger and stronger by every moment, especially if we do see Silence run straight to the garage wall, open that up, as you talked about. It's very rare that it gets challenged these days. You just open it and then leave someone out there to pick off anyone that's roaming around, pick up anyone that's forced out of their hiding position within the garage from control of piano. But first they have to get that. Renewals is up here on the top floor, and he's alone up here.
He just put a camera in admin, and they're defending basement. And I get that they're roaming, but wow, that's some dedication.
Yeah, they're really hoping that Dexterity
Try to
play
challenge
into their roamers. Yeah,
Yeah.
try to challenge these roamers, trying to go hunting for them, and he can catch them with the camera and try and deal with it. If they don't, they just go straight for the room. That's a lot of wasted resources.
Dexterity historically has challenged roamers, but they learn. They figure out, oh, wait a minute, we don't have to. So if they learn that early on, it's going to work against them. But no, in fact, Gohan is addressing the top floor.
Yeah, they are droning across the top floor at the moment. Gohan is up on those windows. He did have a drone at the vending machines by admin, which was killed off as soon as Renewals ran up there. So he knew Renewals was on that floor at some point, and he just had to drone out and find out exactly where he'd gone. They've now used a lot of drones to find exactly where Renewals is, and Astro on that window does tag him with the hip fire through the window, but both he and Shutex, who was on the floor with him briefly, have dropped down now to the floor below, and gone all the way, in fact, down into the garage. Snooken's down here with it, Shutex is down here, and they bring Renewals all the way down and in as well. So after all of that setup on the floors above, after all of that time spent and resources spent, we're not even a minute gone from the clock, and they've all fallen straight back to site.
Yeah.
Not sure that's worth. Alright, spread out a little way towards the east. We do have Shutex Renewals.
Actively abandoning the garage. So that is interesting to see. That means that Dexterity, given that they're only trying to open the garage, yes, they're challenging the roamers, but they're not going for the drops at all. And it's seemingly they're not trying to open up the vertical game in that piano floor. So the active bandit against the Thermite, who is alone, by the way, because guess where Thatcher is? Oh yeah, Evisa, all the way on the other end of the map. He's not going to be able to do anything there. And here we go, vertical game.
Alright, so Dexterity, despite getting rid of those roamers and pushing back to the site within a minute, still spent another minute droning and checking everything else at the floor and making sure they had every single corner cleared, because they weren't trusting Euronics were falling back to the site. So the time is still there. The roamers played safe. Yeah, they took a bit of a gamble in doing that, but it paid off. They're now down to less than a minute to go. Everyone from Euronics is alive. They're inside their site, and Dexterity have used a fair bit of time trying to do nothing, basically. Shutex is now looking to flank on up the stairs. Gohan by yellow stairs does take Panari out, who's trying to push up there. Panari a little bit overly aggressive. He could have waited for Shutex to come up behind, and that is what he is on his way to do now. Gohan's got to be cautious of it. Cameraman takes Shutex out for him, so now he doesn't have to worry at all. And these 5 defenders of Euronics have dropped to 3 very quickly. Secretly up on the pipe, taken out by Astro from outside. Down the yellow stairs comes the Gohan, and he'll take out Snooken as well. Renewals finally makes himself known, comes out of server, takes out one, but Cameraman is there now to cut him off. Starts to sprint at the wrong moment. Dexterity, after all of that waiting and droning, quickly shut down the Euronics players left on site and level the score 1-1.
Great thorough round from Dexterity. Like you said, they took their time getting rid of those roamers. Even though ESG had already defaulted, they didn't want to risk it, and it worked out for them in the end. And making good use of those breaching charges. Now you say a lot of people would just bring Buck to deal with that situation, but they still wanted to play Twitch, and they made it work.
So Dexterity looking to go onto the top floor again. Last time they tried this, they were destroyed by 2 players. A Blackbeard on the B window and a Capital running up the yellow staircase. Rookie mistakes in many ways.
Too
Let
aggressive.
those 2 players, yeah, just pick you all off from those 2 very predictable standard positions. So what are they going to do about it now? How do you play from here out? I don't think they were expecting Euronics to be in those positions so soon, to be fair. The way they set up, the way they were still running around the sites and getting picked off, I don't think they expected Euronics to be ready to shoot at them yet, because everything before that, everything on Cafe, was a slower start for everyone. It took a lot longer for them to get ready to actually start shooting. To see if they are more aware right at the start of this round. I wasn't sure if that was a shotgun shell that hadn't broken the hatch, or if they were, again, making a hole in it, but not wanting to break.
Right.
They did have it broken. Panico will throw a camera at A and then drop straight downstairs towards Piano and Toiler. And we'll hide in here. Now, we've seen Wilkie, in fact, from C2 do serious damage from that room in previous tournaments. So we'll see if Panico is
I think you got a
challenged.
4K in there?
Yeah, it was a 4K I believe, at one point. But we'll see if Panico is challenged or if he's just going to hide in there and peek out later on. Just like before, Euronics back up on this west side of the building, quickly to the B windows, quickly to try and find their way in and put some pressure on this site. Up onto the roof, they already have 2 Shutex and secretly onto that yellow staircase, onto the skylight. And like before, Renewals will drone his own check inside B. Astro playing aggressively in their staircase, pays the price for it. He tries to sprint back, but secretly just finishes reload in time. And Astro will fall. Tried to go for the aggressive peeks. He was looking up through the skylight, ready to get them when they first stuck their head up. Didn't make it count, and was then pinned and picked off. Shutex grenades on through. The EMP that's on the roof there takes out everything just around the corner of that doorway. The grenade goes through and takes out anyone that was waiting right inside there. There is no one, but it's there, and Silence is now this time hidden just behind the wall. Renewal's not going to have sight on him yet. Minute 45, and there are a lot more members of Dexterity alive this time than they were last time they were here to defend this. They played more static, they played properly hidden, and they're being rewarded for it by burning the clock down.
And he's just setting themselves up for those picks, but Dexterity is not risking it at all.
Panico has been flushed out of the toilet, but spotted, but as he tries to rotate and sprint away, Shutex is waiting for him. There was 2 of them down there, Panari being the other one. Shutex gets credited with the kill as he now makes his way up towards the yellow staircase with still a minute 15 on the clock. Silence, they know he's behind this corner. Renewals is ready for him. Gohan tries to peek up and help yellow staircase, and he will pay the price for that again, as they're trying to be overly aggressive, as you mentioned. Shutex takes Silence out as he tries to peek the other way, and Panari is still down in Piano as cameraman was dropping down from the lobby.
This is hard to watch because what's happening here is ESG is just setting themselves up for what they know is going to happen. They're setting themselves up for the spots that Dexterity are going to move to because they know Dexterity is going to move to them. And all Dexterity has to do is just chill on the site and wait patiently because they're not nading. Whoa, that's a... Is that a blitz?
It's a blitz from Gohan.
Huh.
Where's it going?
I'm guessing a Zerg strat maybe, but why is that not a Mountain? That's really interesting. A lot of teams are, I mean, shields are becoming more popular steadily in this current meta, especially after the shield buff with the C4. But Blitz over Montaigne is interesting. They must be doing something specific with it.
We're also seeing a very European meta to this top floor defense here from Euronics now. We're gutting that castle out, we're sealing up the B door with the castle and using the rotate hole here on the side to open it. 11 punches being put on the wall here from Snooken, so when they do want to open it up and challenge the B site, 1 punch and it'll be done. It's nice and fast, it's surprising, but it's also sneaky and they can't spot it. He'll probably do 11 punches on here. Oh no, that's not a castle one, but never mind.
Yeah, 11 punch that barricade.
Yeah, do it, why not? As he in fact uses the last 2 up towards admin. So they are, as we talked about it, reshaping this entire top floor.
Right.
Using those castle barricades to make new walls.
Holding the environment to their advantage. I really want to know what this Blitz is going to do. We haven't seen it in competition in quite a long time. So they've got to have some specific idea behind this, some specific push. But it doesn't seem that way given the way they're all spread out right now.
And I don't see anywhere in the Euronics defense where a blitz could be used to exploit it. Like this this setup is very solid, but it also involves a lot of actually quite long-range engagements across the length of admin, through to the windows, from the vending machines in through, from the vending machines back up the other end of the site if you start pushing from yellow. Like, Blitz is a close quarter specialist.
It's not the right map for him.
And there's no real spot here on this top floor where that's gonna be able to use.
Looks like he's gonna just try and force out yellow stairs, which kind of makes sense, really. If they can force out yellow stairs, get the angle on where people typically hold B from, which is in the hallway just outside the site door, it's entirely possible that they'll be able to just rappel straight in.
Renewal's down in the basement with Snooken nearby as well. Will be the two we're looking to see flank later on. As we now see everyone from Dexterity rotating around Gohan's position to help open up the doorways for him. Astro comes in the toilet, gets it down, and the kill on Panari. Gohan was there to help out from the side, but not needed, as Astro is now pretty low health. They're looking to push a bit further in. 2 on the connector window. The B site is actually pretty much in Dexterity control here. Whoa! Astro hip fires Shutex down. And Snooken will come up behind and knife Gohan, so the shield is out of the picture, and now the Twitch will be taken out from below. Snooken's C4 and Pulse Plate allowed that to happen, as it is back to a 3v3. Still, however, 2 on the roof for Dexterity. Panico repelling outside the connector window, the diffuser in Thermite's hands on the very top of the map. Snooken now in yellow stairs is a good position to help take control and retake the B site if they get inside there. They still have Renewals on that middle floor as well, actually, but I believe he's still holding his C4 in hand too. Might be a way for them to help stop the plant on B. Cameraman rotating up through the Visa staircase, secretly on the right-hand side of that door, has that smoke grenade to help him keep locked out. Capitao comes in and will be shut down by Snooken from a distance as he's got around behind. Now the diffuser down inside, and Silence has been spotted by that heartbeat sensor perfectly. The pre-fire is coming through, a little bit too close in fact. He stands on up, takes Snooken down, looks for Renewals but can't make it work. And ESG will get the diffuse on through. It would have been an amazing 3v1 if he pulled it off, but the big task, especially when they know exactly where you're sitting.
So what they were trying to do there with that Blitz, Dexterity had a good idea. They pinched the B bomb site, but ultimately ESG wasn't even defending it. They didn't have anyone in there initially, and they didn't get picked off. And the guys playing in the hallway could have easily been killed by anyone with a rifle, which is what Twitch ended up doing from Bathroom. And Blitz, yes, he took control of yellow stairs, and he kind of denied, I guess, the denial of B. But he didn't, it could have been done by anyone else, especially considering there was no barbed wire in yellow stairs. There was nothing stopping someone with a rifle just coming up and challenging. He didn't need that shield.
So we'll see what they try it again, if they're ever attacking that same location. As it is, they're back to trying to defend it themselves, and we need to see something very different from them here to make this work. They've been dismantled every time they tried to hold it in the last 2 defenses. And everything I'm seeing here is identical so far. Shield, okay, shield in that doorway, a little bit different. But the trophy system that's next to it is going to be killed by the EMP on the roof, same as before. The grenade's going to come down and blow up right next to the shield. And if there's players sitting right behind it, they're going to have a really bad day. If there's not, doesn't matter, the shield's gone, so the job is still done.
10 seconds left.
There's a shield in front and behind, but it doesn't matter, again, like you said, because Thatcher is Thatcher, and Thatcher gets it all.
So,
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
I don't know, we'll see. Euronics moving forward and doing the same old. They are a bit more cautious again, pushing forward, because they know that spawning the same way and pushing from the same way every time is, you know, it gets predictable. They might do something about it, but
looks like they're going to be doing pretty much the same thing. They're going to put this Blackbeard onto the B windows. He's going to look for the angles onto the defenders. And it all really, again, it comes down to whether or not the defenders are going to get aggressive when it's unnecessary. And if ESG, they're just going to set themselves up in the same exact locations to deny the roamers coming back to the site. And I'm pretty certain that they will. That's what they've been doing every time so far, and it's worked fantastically for them. Why should they change it?
Yeah, Panico once again is downstairs, and yeah, okay, he's left the flank, but every time before it's been, yeah, make it
he walks up and dies.
There, he's been found out. They were watching the flank. They're ready for him. So we need to think something different. It is taking a slightly different form here then for Euronics. Shutex coming down this side, is making a hole in towards the bathroom. Gohan's in there, and this is why. He's looking to throw the grenade up and in. Up and down it goes. Does take Gohan down to about half health and forces him out of the toilets. So nothing too serious, but moves him away, moves his position, and thankfully this time for Dexterity, he doesn't walk into someone else's crosshairs, as that has been the theme for a lot of these Dexterity repositions. takes out the Claymore underneath the hatch, make sure he has that available if he wants to drop down there later on. Astro now is trying to hold on to that B window from inside connector, has the reinforcement to help him with it, and Silence still has that shield there actually now, keeping him safe behind the corner.
This isn't familiar or anything.
No, he's just being watched from Renewals. The EMP went off on the roof again. Not sure if the grenade's going to go and take that shield down, as Silence gets tagged from behind as he steps out a little bit too far.
Steps right back into
and
it.
steps right back into the same spot, taken out by Renewals once again. So, top of that yellow staircase now, inside Euronics control again. 4 other players from Dex though still standing, plenty of work to be done. Astro inside the connector has this reinforcements for safety, but now he's got Renewal's attention. If he comes out from either side, we've seen the flicks that Renewals can do. Is he going to be able to get enough bullets through that Blackbeard shield before Renewals can do the damage he needs? It's unlikely. He's going to need a bit of help. Panico's rotated up through Visa. He's in towards the far side and the A site, and the plants are going down. There is Astro peeking around, and Renewals pushes him away. There's the plant down. Gohan has been downed elsewhere, so there's only 3 defenders left up against 5 members of Euronics again. Pushing up the yellow staircase comes Shutex, takes Astro down through the wall, doesn't know it, but the job is still done. Inside toilet, cameraman comes through, does get the kill onto Shutex for 1. Flicks back, and I think actually shot Panico there a little bit. Down the yellow stairs is Secretly, who actually comes up straight into cameraman. It's a good kill. This is looking better for Dexterity. 3 members up for Euronics. Now it's only 2 as Panico takes down Snook and Panari takes out cameraman. Renewals on the window, has Panico trying to jump out at him. There's a good push forward from Astro, and with only 1 man left alive, he's going to try and hold the defuse. Flicks off in time. Astro takes out a beautiful kill on Panari and has the time to go for the defuse. It's a 7-second in competitive play. No!
Oh, he doesn't have time!
Milliseconds away! Panari's peak was just late enough that Astro couldn't do it. That's heartbreaking for Dexterity.
Unfortunately, a poor defense from Dexterity. Rook stepped back into that line of sight from Blackbeard, and then there just wasn't any denial. All the bases were covered from ESG, every single one of them. They had a Thatcher watching the yellow stairs so that nobody could run out onto the Blackbeard who's holding on the B windows. There was somebody in bathroom denying that angle, and that Thermite just got to walk in and plant, basically.
So they did a good job slowing down the attack from ESG. It took them longer to get in, took them longer to feel comfortable to plant, which is what made them run the clock down so far. And the retake coming out from Dexterity was much, much better, picking up a lot of the important kills, taking that Blackbeard off the window, getting the flankers to actually flank this time. They're coming up the yellow stairs, picking off kills instead of being picked off within seconds. But with those few
just not enough time.
Not enough.
They had to have denied that bomb plant for just a couple more seconds. That defuse was milliseconds off.
Anyway, Euronics back down into the basement now on map point. 4 rounds to 1 in Euronics' favor. Even if they win it, we're still heading to our 3rd map. We're still heading to Border, our deciding map. So Dexterity still have plenty of chances if they cannot think something up here. The Euronics defense of this garage was pretty strong before. They're leaving Renewals and Shutex on the top floor, but they were rotated down fast, they pushed down, and okay, they came down to the last minute, but Dexterity did just stroll over them once they had them all pinned inside the site. Now, bringing Astro around towards the garage door this time. As you mentioned, cameraman on the Thatcher was miles away last time over, so couldn't help. So this time they're trying to do it with Twitch Drone, but Renewals will take Gohan out very quickly in that top floor. They tried to get in faster, they tried to be more aggressive to take out the roamers and pay the price for it. Renewals not even feeling scared enough to have to leave the top floor this time, whereas before they were droned, and within droning, he dropped.
It seems like Dexterity is getting a little bit worried and trying to be more true to their form, but it's just not working in this situation. You need to have the options, and you just don't. Running in through yellow stairs is not an option.
Renewals does dart past this gap. Panico puts a bullet or 2 in his direction, but it's not going to come close, and Renewals is now safe inside the server room. Panari's trying to battery trick and does get the 2nd charge. So only 1 wall opened, and it doesn't actually give that much of a sight line in towards the site because it's in front of the van. So a lot of it is blocked by that. However, the pipe position that Secretly is sitting at that was going to be exposed by that 2nd thermite charge is no longer going to be opened, and he's going to feel much better sitting in that spot. There's no control of Piano, so Dexterity cannot move him out there by making holes in the floor. Getting through this very small hole with that smoke being safe in that position is going to be really tough.
Their attack's going to have to come from somewhere else. They need to redirect. They can't play off of this lone garage wall. And it looks like Thatcher's doing exactly that way back on the other end of the map.
Yeah, we'll see if he can be long enough. These are the smoke charges, thanks to the changes, thanks to the fact they can be thrown from further now. He can land them there every single time, all the way back from pipes. Cameraman's going to have to come around and flank right when the pressure is applied from this side and pick up 2 or 3 kills. Otherwise, getting through that garage door is going to be a momentous task. So, Panico coming around to join now. Remember, he's going to have a couple of smoke bolts that are here. Secretly, though, takes Astro out with his SG-11 as Astro is trying to peek in and shift him from that pipe position. Twitch is gone. Firebolts into the back of White Fan. Firebolts underneath. Cameraman is doing work from behind. Silence picks up Panari now too, and is looking better for the attackers. It's back to a 3v3. The smoke charges from Smoke himself now is only 1 remaining and 40 seconds to go. So they can have a window now where he will not be able to lock them out. Cameraman, while his position is known, is ready to start to be a nuisance. He's ready to start to peek. Panico gets one outside. Renewals will answer to trade back though. 2v2. Cameraman comes in. Snooken can't kill him, but he can't trade it back himself. Silence is inside with the diffuser and it's dropped now. Does down Snooken, but Renewals will flank onto Cameraman. That's map in the bag for Euronics. 1-1 as we head to border.
Unfortunately, Dexterity, what they needed to do in that last round was be a little bit more dynamic and change up their attack. Instead, they opted to put more people outside that garage and just try and force it out, and it just didn't work.
So, while the scoreline doesn't feel it, a lot of those last 2 rounds were very, very close. 5-1 feels very one-sided, but not to be said. We're looking now towards our following map, and I want to compare it back to Consulate. It's another map, Border, which is very much... It's tough to set up towards A, it's tough to set up towards one bomb site, and then rotate around to the second one towards the end. And that's what we just saw Dexterity fall down to here. They set up to come in through garage wall. They did all of their effort, they tried to get through, and when it started to crumble, when that second thermite charge didn't go off, they kind of held and couldn't rotate around.
It seems kind of like they just froze up a little bit.
Yeah, so if that happens on Border 2, whichever side they set up to and then get locked out of, I hope they have better preparation for the rotate, so to speak.
Well, I feel like Border, there's a little bit more, there are a lot more options, to be honest. If you're attacking, like, for example, if you're attacking Armory on Border, you have the option between A and B, A being toward the actual Armory site itself. And if you're taking A, you could establish yourself in monitors and push your way through into the A wall. If you're taking B, you can establish yourself in offices and push your way in through the B wall. You know, you're not just stuck to pushing your way through garage. And I feel like Dexterity was thinking that was what you had to do. But in reality, they just didn't take the other options available to them. They never used the Hibana to open up those drops. They never tried. I mean, they did try the vertical game, but only 1 round. They never.
See, that was my next
I was
point.
surprised when they didn't do that the next, especially on this attack.
Before we go too deep into Border, you talked about it. We talked about it before. Like the vertical game is a huge part of Consulate, and then we never really saw it.
Yeah.
We just didn't get it put in. Yes, we saw people taking down the roamers a lot. We saw people herding the roamers out and getting control of the other floors. But then there was nothing to make holes in it. There was nothing to put pressure through it. We just tried to keep coming through the normal avenues.
And the one thing I really truly noticed about Dexterity is that, yes, they are extremely aggressive and they have great synergy and they have interesting map strats, but what they don't do, what they tend not to do, is manipulate the map. Whereas ESG, what they definitely were doing on this Consulate game throughout the entire match was manipulating the map. They were using it to their advantage.
Yeah, tearing it apart. And Border, I mean, when it was released at the time, when Dustline was the new DLC, was the most destructive map in the game at that point. It's a very manipulatable map. You can make it how you want it. So, see if Dexterity having them, but that shot, I
that was
can't
amazing.
Get over it. Though, like 1 HP left for Astro, and the beautiful flick there to unscope kill Shutex.
One thing we should revisit is also Dexterity on Chalet, or sorry, on Cafe rather. The reason that they kept losing that upstairs take was because they couldn't manipulate the map. They didn't open anything. Sure, they won the roamer game, and they made it 5v3. They made it 4v3, but they could never get past the last anchor defenders because they didn't change the map at all.
I feel so bad watching that.
So close. Milliseconds.
There's pain in that little clip there. It's the beautiful play onto the fake diffuse, the pull off and the kill, and it goes back to it, and it's just not quite enough time left. It hurts. I feel for him. But as it is, it means we get a 3rd map. It means we get more to see from either of these 2 teams. Remember, this is a single elimination tournament. If whoever loses this best of 3 is done, they go home. So to get 3 maps out of both of them is fantastic. As we now let the players switch on over, figuring out who's attack and who's defense. The coin flip to find it out has been done, and as soon as they're ready, we'll look into playing it. So then going into border, we talked briefly about some of the bomb sites and the time it takes to rotate between it, but it's another map where verticality can be very powerful. But neither of these two teams seem to want to go near that play. They've avoided verticality play on Consulate, where it's so
Well, they're both too aggressive to take the time to slow down and open up those avenues for themselves to, instead of just taking a fight, you know, and winning the engagement, just put yourself in an advantageous position where you probably, it's pretty difficult to lose the fight, which is like vertical game, opening up the floor, opening up the ceiling.
So there it is. All of the teams are ready. Let's get into our third and final map. Winner of this map here will go on to face Continuum tomorrow. This is going to set up our second PC semi-final. Euronics versus Santos Dexterity on border. And I don't want to call it. It's too close to say, but
It really, truly is. I mean, I think it's going to come down to how practiced and how many strats ESG has on this particular map. How are they going to be?
It's not been a big map in the European meta.
No, it hasn't.
For a long time.
Are they going to be, but that's why I'm curious, are they going to be manipulating the map to their advantage like they did on Consulate, or like on Cafe, are they going to just be put in a position where it doesn't matter, where they're just going to lose those fights?
So, looking at their setup, we are going up to that top floor bomb site first, the armory and then the lockers, and, well, Euronics, once again, going at their very speedy mobile lineup. They're one of the most prevalent teams in Europe to do this. They don't run rooks, they don't run docks all the time. They have from time to time, we saw it on Cafe, but they will very happily go without in many occasions.
Right.
Looking at those reinforcements going up in office, I think we're going to have someone sit in there. It's going to be played, at least to begin with, maybe a very early fall back in towards B, but having some kind of control inside that office area, inside that area around the B site, can really delay the push towards that B bomb site.
It looks like they're going to try and get aggressive on monitors too. I like that rotate hole into the hallway. That's going to allow anyone who's playing in monitors, kitchen, cafeteria area to just move on out as soon as they start getting challenged. And that's one of the main reasons people don't typically roam in monitors, is because if you get stuck in there, it's pretty easy for the attackers to just pinch you out. There's a window on almost every single angle, every single inch of that room.
Shootex then very aggressively up at this window already, looking for someone coming on in. Shots through passport as the drones are clearing it out and letting Gohan know that it's safe to edge on forward. He'll prefer a couple of the spots just in case, but now that Silence's drone has told him it's clear, he goes in. He'll start to drone a little way for himself. ESG still making some holes, still setting up their defense. Renewals there making some through the floor with his Desert Eagle. Gets spotted out by Gohan's drone. See how he can use that, if they still let him use that, or if they go and punish him for it. As Astro is pushing now towards the northeast side of the map, northwest side, towards the B side. So it does look like the majority of the Dexterity players are on this side of the map. They are looking for a B push.
This B take.
Yeah. So having this angle opened up, having that sight lane through towards lockers will allow a lot of play from both of these two teams. It can completely cut up this whole balcony here for the defending team if they can peek at the right time, but it also allows a very easy diffuser hold for the attacking team if they can get it down.
I think Pulse is going to try and come up from those back stairs, but Thatcher's not going to let him. That was a very close call on Pulse's part. Probably would have lost that engagement.
Shootex is still down there with Renewals. He's checking around with his heartbeat sensor, and the shots won't quite land from Cameraman. Neither of them actually doing any damage to the other. But now he knows that they're down there. I don't think they know about Renewals, who is also down there with the C4, but Shootex is definitely being spotted out. Continues to peek a little way more until Cameraman moves on himself. Gohan's actually going to go hunting for it now. This is what we've seen from Dexterity so many times, is once they find someone downstairs, find someone lurking around, Gohan will be the man to go and hunt him down. Opens up the wall from the toilets. Renewals is down at the far end now to try and help out. Shootex tight on the right-hand side. Does start to spray through one of the walls. Upstairs, one of the members of Dexterity is down. Astro is picked off by Secretly. Panico will finish Secretly off in return, though. Gohan's looking to turn and run. They actually heard him through the hole in the wall that they made. He is in runaway back towards the east staircase, and he's decided with 45 seconds to go, he can't be wasting his time with those two downstairs. Into the office they go. Snooken on the far side of that very destroyed wall now has to hide behind the locker wall to make sure he's safe. Gohan's looking to push on in. He's used up his smoke grenades to cover off a lot of the way in towards the B site. Panico deeper underneath now with the Capital, starting to push her and shove out Snooken. Renewals though is still down there. Cameraman's gone down there now, and Snooken will finish off Silence before Cameraman's finished off by Renewals. The two roamers that they sort of gave up with and then went back to aren't going to get any work done. Snooken takes the kill onto Gohan, stops the plant before the C4 can do it. Panico does run and pick up one kill, but with 5 seconds on the clock, the roamers are back up there to shut him down and lock the first round in for ESG.
And you saw Dexterity, they were trying to get a preemptive, you know, get rid of those roamers, not let them come up from behind like that. But in the end, they wasted too much time on their attack, and they didn't get the roamers. The roamers played too passive, and they came up from behind and ended the round for them.
Yeah, a little bit of indecision. Do we deal with them? Do we leave them?
Well, they got aggressive, and then they just backed off. You know, they didn't commit fully. And when you're not committing like that, it's like this. Listen, if the roamer's coming up from behind, you're going to lose the round. If you get aggressive and you die, you're going to lose the round. But if you get aggressive and you kill them, you might win the round. You just have to make a decision and go with it.
So, Dexterity doing the same in defense, setting up in this top floor, looking to set up their reinforcement, looking to set up their holes. Gohan making a nice hole here in towards CCTV from that main corridor. See if they want to put something in here, see if he wants to use it for a late rotate perhaps. Panico heading downstairs again with some cameras of his own. See where it is he chooses to put them. What kind of information they head on over.
Attackers are moving.
And also a very
Anything else about the
mobile,
defense because I can't see it.
a very mobile defense, just like ESG. Only a Rook on that team with a 1-on-1 speed.
Yeah, I really do like Rook on this map, just because
Well, he's
the top bomb set especially, because a lot of it is very long-range engagement, which with an MP5 is great to do, and you don't
gonna be a lot
need
of
to be
downs.
very speedy to sit in between the two and cover both sides.
I would almost venture to say maybe a Rook-Doc combo, because when you get downed in Armory and you're exposed, like let's say you get docked in Bunker, which is the corner right in front of this smoke right here, how are you going to get picked up? You don't have a teammate playing right next to you typically. You're pretty much stuck there, and then the next thing that's going to happen is a nade's going to come flying over. So a dock is a great thing to get you out of that situation.
So, Secretly's already inside CCTV now. The holes that were made by the defending team, he's cautious of them and peeking on through it before he then drops below, and actually is greeted by the Jaeger waiting for him. Astro pops up and takes that free kill happily. Panico's down here with him now. Panari just misses him, sprinting out that doorway and leaving custom drone. Shu takes his drone, will confirm it though, and then get taken out by Panico's Valkyrie. So Panari's got to be cautious until another one will come in and feed him more info. Shutex is coming in from the main door, and Panico is looking in that direction. Panari might be able to flank around behind him. Shutex gets across to safety, but then will die as he re-peeks it. Panico is safe. Panari's not close enough to trade this, and he is back into a more dug-in position. ESG being picked off one by one here, and not doing a good job of taking out the roamers.
This is a similar situation to last round, but in the parallel. But the difference is Euronics is committing to attacking the roamers. They're just losing their fights.
Still underneath that metal staircase is Panico. Inside the workshop is Astro. There's no drones here to give Panari any more information about it. He's choosing to go up the staircase instead. Panico's going to probably hear the barbed wire get punched. Definitely heard that shot from above him. Now a question of when he chooses to move. Silence is taken out by Panari peeking up through the metal detector before he comes back down. Does find Astro, but Astro gets the damage out in time, and Panari will fall. Two members of ESG left alive. It's Thermite and a Blackbeard, and they're out on the balcony. The wall is open. Snooken gets the kill onto Gohan as they're pushing on in. Snooken very low health, firing in towards Astro. Cameraman peeks around from the inside the B side and takes him out. Blackbeard, the last man standing, gets a good headshot. Astro now over by the metal detectors is being pushed. Slow ADS time means this is going to have to count. Renewals will get the kill, but Panico flanks around from behind to trade it back and seal the round for Dexterity.
We got a very similar defense from Dexterity to ESG's defense that round. Two roamers downstairs wasted enough time on ESG's side, whereas two roamers downstairs on Dexterity's side managed to get the picks to deny all of the attackers access to the site. And it's interesting because in the end, Thermite and Blackbeard just ended up walking their way into the site. And they could have done that from the get-go with, say, 3 or 4 players and gotten the bomb plant and played out the round like that, instead of trying to challenge the roamers, which again seems to be the theme of the losing round here for the attackers.
All right, Castle back in the mix then from Euronics now that we're downstairs, now that they need to lock this side up a little bit more. Where is he putting them? What is he doing with it? Are we going to see players on that top floor? We talked about verticality, we talked about how that B site can be held very easily from above here, but that means you've got to make sure you're safe above. Renewals is using a couple of reinforcements on this wall. The castle barricade may slow down any kind of push from office.
The teams I've seen defend this particular site so far, the way they end up doing it is they waste they half anchor upstairs. They waste as much time as they possibly can, and then as soon as it's at like 1 minute mark, they start falling back. But it looks like what ESG is going to try and do is try and hard anchor up there. They're going to try and sit upstairs and hold armory as long as they possibly can. At least that's what it seems like with all the investment in utility. You've got 2 reinforcements and a bunch of barbed wire. But we'll find out. Right now they only have 1 player up there, and that is Mute.
So the push is coming in from the east side, then from Dexterity. Once again, they're pushing from this edge and looking to take control of the office area of the map like they did when the bomb site was upstairs. Should be a bit smoother to get on in this time. Cameraman is again the one that's flanking, coming around from the opposite side. Let's see if he can successfully make an impact from it, and what they do to take control of the floor above the actual bomb site itself. They've got the majority of the rest of the map. The Euronics are, while they're all spread across 2 floors, all on 1 tight corner of the map this time. So Dex gets on into the CCTV, which was already cleared out, and can start opening up a trapdoor to rotate into security, into customs.
Dexterity is kind of moving all over the map. They're not doing one particular thing.
Oh! Misses the shot on Renewals, which allows the 180 flick to shut Gohan down. Still 20 health left here on Renewals' Valkyrie, and he's now safe from any repercussions. There's no one else close. Gohan was so far ahead of anything else that it is just a free kill for Euronics. The push upstairs is now from Astro. He's looking to head in towards where Panari is sitting, but he will fall as well as Panari wins that fight out. And again, there's no one there to trade it. This combination of Gohan and Astro we saw in Cafe has kind of vanished over the last 2 maps.
Not the combination of Gohan and Astro but the combination of the team in its entirety. Everyone's doing their own thing, and when it works sometimes if you're going to win your singular engagements, but not when you don't have, not when you're losing, not when you're losing all these fights.
So, still low health on that Valkyrie, but everyone else still very healthy indeed. Panari, after getting their kill, didn't take a single bullet.
Only a minute left too.
Only a minute left. He's still up and above the site. Everyone's still upstairs here from Dexterity. They do have the fast rotate through this trapdoor, but now you can see Renewals is waiting right next to it, and we'll hear them fall down. The diffuser is in the hands of Silence again, in the hands of that Thermite who is above the trap, and he's choosing to drone a little bit more. Does come on in and does find exactly where Renewals is sitting, so he has to reposition quickly. But again, even though they know where he is now, there's not a whole lot they can do about it with the time they have at hand.
They have exactly nothing to stand on here.
That's a good thing for him. Silence picks him up as he tries to peek on out. He was down from behind, but Shutex was a great shot from over by the workshop office area. Takes down Panico as he falls through the trapdoor. Panari comes down the metal staircase to take Cameraman out as he tries to support the revive. They do get Silence back up, but he goes straight back down and get to Panari. Panico has taken out Shutex, but he's now got to find 3 more players and 10 seconds to do it in. He's going to go pick up the diffuser. Panari's waiting at the top of the staircase. He missed the diffuser, but Panari won't miss him. And Euronics have the round secured.
Yeah, Dexterity seemed to just kind of position themselves randomly around the map with no particular thing, no particular attack strategy in mind, just kind of lingering and getting picked off. And then in the end, they wasted too much time staying upstairs and monitor on top of the drop, looking for that pick, and ESG just wasn't going to let them do that and wasn't going to give them a pick. So they didn't give themselves any opportunities, and as such, just kind of stalled out on their attack.
Dexterity's second option for defense then. They're looking right now at the bathroom teller's location, so a little bit different to what we saw from ESG. That's what a lot of people's reaction is. They think it's
feasible,
there.
but we don't see it.
Recently in the meta, we have seen more and more teams pull it out and succeed.
I mean, if you're going to be holding bathroom tellers, I assume the way you're going to be doing it is being extremely aggressive, or just dedicating your smoke solely to denying that plant that everyone's going to go for. I mean, if you think about it, the only other way to really address this site is from going into server. Yeah, I think that's server. Yeah, going into server room and moving your way through the bathroom wall. But most teams won't do it like that. Most teams will get baited into attacking through the B wall or the B window and trying to go for that quick bomb plant. And it can work pretty easily, but only if there's no smoke to deny it. And there is also, by the way, hey, no smoke to deny it. So this is interesting. Defending tellers without a smoke.
Yeah, we'll see
I'm
how
sure
it
they'll make
shapes
it
up.
work.
So, Snukum will continue journeying. Shutex heads towards the building. They've got that Black Beard with them again. And they will start by taking control of the top floor from the south spawn instead, so from the valley, starting with CCTV and making their way across. There are 2 players from Dexterity over in the office location. It's just a case of finding them, and then how do you deal with them? Like before, it's Gohan and Astro, but as we said, that partnership has been floundering the last couple of rounds, the last couple of maps, really. They need to bring it back in together. They've also now had Panico come up and join them now, so there's 3 players on the top floor. Still a bit spread out, but right now the Euronics pressure isn't really forming a shape. So
C4 set.
the C4 is going to be used to open up that trapdoor and make the rotate hole back down to safety. Panico came up, blew it, and they go straight back down again. Is now hiding on the far west side, again, right, far away from the bomb sites. They need to find him or he will come and punish them later on, which he has done successfully in a couple of rounds. Euronics down with only a minute off their clock, finally starting to put pressure onto these 2 bomb sites inside, or these 2 roamers, sorry, inside the rooms above the bomb.
And here ESG, they are actually forming an attack this time. Unlike Dexterity, they are getting together as a team and pushing in on where they know the defenders are, in offices, to try and get that vertical control on the site. And there's the first pick. And the
Secretly,
second.
and Penari pick up the 2. Gohan and Astro fall very quickly after all that time it took the Euronics guys to get them, after all that time it took them to make their way towards it. 2 very quick kills, and also 4 people through the same
It's a
doorway.
beautiful thing to see 4 people coordinating like that.
Located a bomb. Attackers dropped the diffuser. Attackers
And despite the
have
fact that
recovered their
Dexterity was ready for it, they had the barbed wire, they had the reinforcements, it just wasn't enough. There weren't enough players to deny it, and ultimately they just lost their engagements. But now Dexterity circled around the site with this Valkyrie, waiting for the attackers to try and push their way in, hopefully going to get a good couple kills on that flank.
Only a minute to go though, and we talked about this bomb site, 1 being unorthodox, 2 being actually very small. So 3 defenders in this very small space could do a lot of work, even against 5 people coming their way. Very few bullets are going to be needed in those very tight alleyways to shut down all the attackers. But Shutex drops through the hatch. Waiting room is under control of Panari, and Dexterity have been pushed off of their own bomb site. Upstairs, Panico is above them. Great C4 from Cameraman, stops the plant and takes out 2. Panari's in waiting, and Cameraman gets him as well. Secretly will take out Panico. Shutex is there for Camera's 4th. He's looking for 1 more, and Secretly is upstairs. He's above the hatch. He'll drop through into Silence's sights. Dexterity hold!
A 4K from Cameraman gives Dexterity the new hope that they need for this map. 2-2 now, and Dexterity wins one of the most unorthodox sites in the game.
Beautiful done. And I mean, it's unorthodox, and then Euronics were punished for it. They didn't understand
They
it. They didn't
didn't
know
know
too
what
well.
they were
And okay,
doing.
they took out the roamers, but when it came to actually being in the site, they exposed themselves to that right there. They exposed themselves to
C4.
Cameraman's great C4.
So we
placement.
were
And then
talking
the
about-
predictable rotate around into waiting. He
Yeah.
played that so well.
We were talking about how beautiful, or I was talking about how beautiful it was to see 4 players together working on one particular thing. And hey, look, it didn't work out because now you're going to die to a C4 2 at a time.
Held them on, keeping it close, keeping it at 2-2. As Euronics head back up to that top floor bomb site now. Armory and lockers once again.
Attackers need to locate
So look and hold
defuse
firm.
bomb.
Now the last attack we saw from Dexterity coming this way was a little bit lackluster, but you've had a round to learn it now. You've had a round to figure out where Euronics are going. How do you change it? What do you do about it? First things first, deal with the roamers downstairs rather than sort of play with them.
Or don't. Figure
But
out one or the other, though.
There was a Pulse with a C4 and a Valkyrie with a C4
Oh,
waiting
yeah.
underneath the site to plant. So if you're going to plant in B, you have to kill those 2 downstairs.
Right. Well, not necessarily. There is an indestructible part of the floor, but for the most part, yes, you're right. Yeah, you should take care of the roamers. In my opinion, you're entirely correct. You have to get rid of them because if Valkyrie and Pulse, like you said, they're going to have full information on the site itself. They probably have 2 cameras in there, 1 on each of the sites, and then Pulse can do his own scouting with his Pulse. And yeah, deny almost all of the plants, but not all of the plants. And as well, if you hit the site fast enough with 2 people downstairs like that, it is entirely possible that they won't be able to reciprocate in time, and you could just get the bomb plant off real fast.
Yeah, we'll find out. So Astro, once again, up and towards CCTV with Gohan close by. The drones are looking to scout through for them again.
Now, I'm really worried right now because it looks like they're going to be setting up for an A take,
Yeah,
and you cannot take an A. You can't actually plant in A anywhere because pretty much I think the entire floor is destructible, and
However, Euronics have everyone on the top floor this time. There aren't anyone downstairs.
Oh, you're entirely correct, yeah.
But they
Pulse will probably rotate out if they start getting pressure on A.
And if they realize that the A is where the pressure's coming from,
Yeah.
Shutex can drop down and go below. You can see right now he's all the way over here in office by the east staircase. So we'll see what he chooses to do with it. Gohan is downstairs. The moment Silence does now repel on up, but Gohan has been looking for these flanks before. He's actually in an engagement at the moment. He takes a lot of damage down to nearly 5 HP and then falls back out to join the rest of his team to be replaced by Cameraman down here. Thermocharges have gone off and the wall will be opened up towards the A side, towards that locker's location. So with a minute 40 to go, there's a lot of time here for Dexterity to try and carve themselves a hole in which they can plant the bomb. Euronics still have everyone on the top floor. They're not looking to move anyone down just yet. Shutex still cautious of the far side, so not ready to drop underneath. And they do, in fact, look to be resetting Gohan. Yeah, they just jumped him off the roof, get him back up, full 50 health, and set it up.
They're taking their time with this attack, and they're not honestly doing a whole lot with it. They're waiting for those picks, but ESG is just not giving any to them. They're not peeking out. They don't need to. It's unnecessary.
They're hiding firm, as you mentioned. That A site is very destructive, not only through the floor, but just in the walls. There's very few places you can plant safely. Gohan takes a few more shots from the player right at the back side of A. They have sent a man around towards that window between the lockers, and now the smoke grenades are going out. Silence with this diffuser in hand has got a lot of smoke to cover him. He's dashing on in, goes right to the back corner before he starts to plant. Snooker grabs one, Panico grabs one, and secretly will take out Gohan. So the numbers are in favor of Euronics. Astro, they will change that as Panico gets in through the window. 3v3 with a lot of health everywhere. Astro's picked up the diffuser and is now planting by the lockers. It's going to go on through, but Panico will take Snooker as he tries to push forward and cancel it. Pre-fire is in towards B, and this is where Dexterity were taking their time. They know exactly where Euronics are, and Astro finishes off Shutex on the flank. One member left for Euronics, who's trying to spray in through the lockers, and will tag them all, but not finish any of them. Renewals now looking towards the lockers again as Astro peeks around, takes down one. Panico's the next one who's trying to pre-fire his way through. The legs are shot up a little bit more, and he's very, in fact, he's downed in between the locker location. Last man there were metal detectors, but Renewal stashes past him. He's on the diffuser now. He may have time here. Cameraman's got to get through barbed wire, and it's only a 7-second diffuse time. He's going to hold it. Renewals has just straight done it. He pulls off for the last second and goes for the shoot. He doesn't have a lot of time. The C4's not going to kill. He doesn't have time to hold this anymore.
Wow. Unfortunately, Renewals decided to get off at the very last second. I think he might have thought that Thatcher was a little bit closer than he in fact was. Too much barbed wire in his way. He wouldn't have made it in time. That would have been a successful defuse.
He could have held that diffuse.
Absolutely. But a great round from Dexterity all the same. What we haven't been seeing from them, we saw from them this round. They weren't coordinating on their attacks, but this time they all just went in, all 5 together, and they got the job done.
Euronics in their play that you praised them for not giving up the picks, forced them into static play, forced them into just hiding in the corners, which, okay, they were safe, but it meant that Dexterity could take all their time to figure out exactly where those spots were, where those they can share. All right, well, we've now got 2 minutes to learn who you are, and we'll push in, knowing exactly where each of your peaks are going to come from, knowing exactly where each of you guys are going to rear your head. And they punished them for it. Renewals very nearly solo returned it.
I'm pretty sure the reason Renewals got off that is because he just wasn't expecting Thatcher to get so stuck with the barbed wire. And Thatcher took honestly, it was very deliberate. He took a lot of time with his actions, and because of that, yeah, he could have diffused it. He could have clutched that. It was a nice try, though.
Instead, Cameraman there once again to secure a round for Dexterity, putting them in the lead as they're now looking to defend that armory locker's location themselves. Gohan back on Caviera for the first time here on Border. See where he chooses to go, where they choose to put her. And the way that
himself, he hasn't been having a whole lot of success this particular map, and he's trying to mix it up, throw something else in there.
But it's also the way that Euronics have been playing against the Dexterity Roamers here. They haven't been really pushing for them. They've given them a lot of opens to run away. That last round when they pushed into the office before Tellers was the closest we've seen them all come to pushing at the same time. The Caviera can exploit those kind of weaknesses. Caviera can really slide in and out of the gaps you give her, so see if Gohan does it well. He's also got a very strong shotgun, which in this current location, if they push straight into A, is very powerful, and if not, he can drop down and very quickly come up behind them on the metal staircase.
But it looks like ESG is going to be attacking B for the first time this map, which is not something we've seen a whole lot of. Blackbeard typically placed exactly where he is on the window, but oh no, in fact, they're going to be attacking both B and A. Pressure from Blackbeard on the other end of the site. But that's interesting to see, because Okay,
Well, he cuts off the rotate from B and from office, right?
Yes, technically he does, but you can also rotate through the hallway, especially if you know for a fact that most of the attackers are applying all their pressure only to the A wall. But I think, you know, it's sensible. It makes sense. I just probably wouldn't have used Blackbeard for it.
Yeah. So they throw Panari in there head first. He takes out Astro and will flick up for the next one, but Gohan's there with that shotgun. Shuts him down before he gets finished off by the impact nade. Shutek tries to sprint across the lockers and Silence picks up her second one. Secretly is now in and Gohan's shotgun all there to clean it up. Snookum will trade him back and then does get deep in towards the lockers room. But Panico is coming up the metal detectors. Great flick from Snookum to take him out. Silence inside that small office area now. Has cameraman in support and they both have to find this one player. They know roughly where he is. He's going to reveal himself to the side. Silence picks up his third for the round and puts Dexterity on map and series point.
ESG trying to do exactly what Dexterity did almost last.
But with far less knowledge.
With far less knowledge, a lot less smoke as well, and they just they ran into the back of that A site again. And when I saw Dexterity do that on that attack round where they just forced all 5 players in, I thought to myself, okay, maybe you don't need to run all the way in there, especially it's just a little too risky. But they put down the smokes and they had the coordination. They had players on that locker's window rather, to apply the pressure elsewhere to deny the defenders the line of sight onto those guys running in. And as such, it worked out for them. But what ESG did there is they just tried to just dry run in there, just go right on in. No one on the locker window, and yes, they had the Blackbeard all the way in B, but he wasn't really assisting that push at all. And on top of that, no smoke. And even more so, Dexterity did reinforce that panel right next to the door, so they could have just inched their way in and planted without any challenge at all. Open the wall, look at where
Look at the impact nade. Oh, he can't
exactly. He can't come through.
You just shoot him.
Yeah. And they chose to get a little bit too aggressive, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we sort of wanted to see and expected to see from both of these teams from the start. They are those kind of teams that all right, we've given us a nice opening, we're going to run very quickly and we're going to straight up beat you with numbers. But because they are both that same squad, because they are both playing in a similar fashion, it's not working. And Dexterity are the ones that have taken that styling and, well, you are used to this, we're going to do it this way, and it worked out far better than that cohesion that we said has been lacking for a couple of rounds, lacking for the last map or two, was shown right there in their last attack, and they were rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And then there, Euronics
trying to do kind of the same thing.
The same thing, but
not
with
working.
less patience.
Yeah.
Full down. 2.5 minutes left on the clock then, as Dexterity once again back up on towards the edge. Shock drone goes out as the EMP will go through too. Panari up against the wall immediately, replaces the batteries killed off by that one. As the shock drone then heads towards the door frame. This time Gohan's on the Blackbeard. He's looking to take the fight in towards that small office of A. There's no one in there at the moment. Snookum's actually gone into the back corner of the room and has a hole in the floor underneath him as well.
The reason that he has that hole down there is because people are going to try and come into his room and nade him to deny him that spot. But if he has the hole preemptively placed onto the door, they can't really do that.
Snookum pre-firing the door frame as the muzzle from Blackbeard comes around the corner. Panari successfully battery tricks the first thermite charge off that wall. He also has a floor hole underneath to look at the door frame, make sure no one nades him from below. It's a tough task to do both at the same time, but it's working out for them as Dexterity have got everyone upstairs. Now towards the door, there's a lot of barbed wire here holding them out. One will get punched away. The Snookum is trying to pre-fire it through. Astro was there to try and take the trade, but secretly gets the first kill onto Panico. Snookum stays ducked in as the thermite charge goes off on the second wall. Panari misses it this time, and they do get it open. However, there are downed defenders and downed attackers. In fact, Twitch, I think, jumped off the edge there on purpose to get reset, and they've now been spotted by Pulse. Cameraman staying on the lower floor. Silence. Prone next to the wall they opened up with the diffuser, and all this information is going to be coming from Shutex back towards his team. Blackbeard out of the picture from Snookum. It's a great pick for ESG. Astro falls back into CCTV now. He's going to go for a very, very late flank around towards B. 50 seconds on the clock, and if ESG aren't paying attention for this, it's going to hurt them, but the Pulse underneath would have already told them about it. Tries to see for it, can't get the kill, but they are ready for it. Renewals will finish Cameraman off now, and Silence and Astro are the only two left. Astro coming somewhere around the front door, in through the metal detectors is picked up by Panari easily. Silence is now alone outside the thermite wall against 5, and Euronics have played this one very, very smart.
And the pressure is really truly on Euronics, and so it's good to see them playing a little bit more passive this time, a little bit more conserved. And that active bandit actually did deny
Yeah, they looked
pretty
at
much the
attack
entire
from,
round.
Yeah, they looked at the attack from Dexterity last time and said, all right, they got into A, they did it like this. How do we counter that? Well, we'll make holes to the floor below so they can't grenade us, and we will try and battery juggle for a little while. And just that first charge dying and forcing the Dexterity to completely reshuffle their attack to get that successful thermite off, just mess with them enough that there were enough free kills there for ESG to take.
Right.
That they were able to seal out the round with all 5 players left alive. That said, Dexterity having that extra lead, 4-3, means they still have another shot here at match point before overtime, and they're going back to their Bathroom Tellers location.
Bathroom Tellers again. I'm not sure if that's the right decision. The last time they won it, yes, they did win it, but it was extremely close.
It was very close, but it came down to Euronics' lack of knowledge in what to do once they had the site.
And do they really have that anymore? I don't think so. I think that they're going to be a little bit more prepared in this situation.
You'd like to hope so, especially if you're a Euronics fan, but let's see whether or not that is the case. Cameraman, the hero of the last Bathroom defense, heads on upstairs to start muting some doors and trying to deny that drone information of the upper locations. Setup downstairs is very, very familiar to what it was before. Euronics, well, they can't take as long to attack this top floor this time as they did before. They need to drone it out, they need to clean it out, because they need to have the time to properly assault that bathroom if they're not used to it.
They did have excellent coordination, but like you said, they did take a little bit too long. And if they can get in there just 1 minute earlier, they'll be able to have enough time to not rush themselves into a C4 from Cameraman.
As the drones head out, Mute Jammer already inside that doorway means they can't actually check in here for him, and Secretly's very cautious about sledging the door on open.
Second try.
Sledging Tie does it and is safe, and then pre-fires a couple of spots until the drone can get in and tell him actually it's empty. It was just a delay technique, but it worked. They'll open up the next window, get the all clear, and then jump on inside. There are a couple of players from Dexterity on the top floor. Again, it's Gohan and Astro. Gohan has already taken a little bit of damage here on his bandit, but is ultimately safe. And hiding again. Shutex off the drone will rotate in, start to pressure the main corridor. They're opening up these kill holes again so they can take out the rumors as and when they do start to rotate. And this is the same coordination we saw last time, but it is also working a bit faster. They're pinning them inside the office here.
And it's really going to come down to whether or not the Dex players in office are going to be able to get any trades back. And there
is the trade back. Panico from underneath the lockers uses his C4, uses the cameras he placed earlier on to take out Panari's Ash. 4v5 now in favor of the defending Dexterity squad.
And that's going to slow down their attack quite a lot. Like you said, they were being a lot more efficient, but now there's no way that they're going to be getting in there anytime soon.
Panari is that first man. He's their entry fragger too, and to lose him of all people, it's going to hurt. Astro behind the desk at the far side of the room, starting to prone and hide from it. Gohan picks up one on Secretly and the second on renewals. Shutex trades Gohan back with only 2 members left alive. This attack from Euronics is falling fast. 2v3 now as Shutex does trade out the roamer upstairs. Silence down. Thermite starting to make some holes in the floor with his thermite charges. Is all they've got left to do. But Panico's flanking up them from behind. Do they know Panico's coming? Do they have anything that could let them know this? And is he trying to time it right? He's had some issues on some of the other maps with getting this push at the right time, but with a minute to go and with 2 players in the site and with all the cameras left alive, he can afford to wait here. Snooken is droning down. Shutex is above the hatch still. Euronics using this full minute here to make sure they know where and what they're going into. Cameraman tucked deep inside the toilet. Shutex has silence on the other side of that reinforced window, but they aren't sure of this. Panico still at the top of the metal staircase. He's now about to get visitors as these guys come out into the main corridor. He heard the door open, he heard the barbed wire. The camera east stairs was just shot. And he's just patiently waiting in case they're coming his way. Comes around the corner now, finds Snooken. Great kill, that's diffuser down. 29 seconds to go. Shutex has to kill 3 and get the diffuser. Heads on up, he's cautious of where Panico may be, but he's fallen back to the office. Does get the diffuser, dodges the last few bullets, drops onto silence, and there it is! Santos Dexterity advances to the semi-finals and sent Euronics home.